on the farms, in low-rent housing districts, in suburban homes and apartments, and in the better-class neighborhoods of any city or town. For their number is legion, and wherever people live, there also live the mentally retarded. But who are the mentally retarded, and what are they really like?
Alright, I just wanted to say really quick before we get into this whole spiel. If you're one of those people what has some little ears around, you know, little kids, you know, or if you're one of those people, you know, a Karen who gets super bent out of shape and you get your panties in a wad over, you know, people like myself who are a little bit on the blue-collar side who like to use those four-letter words derived from the Anglo-Saxon lexicon that so many people seem to find abhorrent and objectionable these days. You might just want to, you know, take your viewership elsewhere, click out of the video, because this obviously ain't for you. And the reason I'm saying that is there seems to be an increasing number of people, for whatever fucking reason, that likes to complain and whine that I don't speak in a way that they find exceptional or acceptable, not exceptional. I mean, I think the way I speak is fucking exceptional, but you know, what can I say? I'm a man, I like to appeal to my own narcissism sometimes just as much as anybody else. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just I want to get that out of the way because I don't know. It's just I don't like it when people come into my videos and then they'll watch like 2 fucking minutes of it and then they click out of it and they leave a dislike and then they just express their displeasure with the way that I talk. Imagine that, a redneck, big greasy redneck who says bad words. Who would have thunk? I don't know. Anyway, you know, if you're one of those people, take your business elsewhere. I don't want to have to listen to you. I've dealt with this way too much. You know, just go back to fucking Reddit or your Web 2.0 based fucking forums that you're used to posting on. It's faggots like you who just keep fucking ruining website after website, and YouTube is one of those unfortunate victims of said faggotry. So, you know, if you're really cool, which, you know, a huge chunk of my viewing audience is actually pretty cool, which, fuck yeah, love you guys. And, if you're cool, you know, just stick around and you might learn something and enjoy a joke or two at my own expense, because this is going to be nothing but struggle. And yeah, not much I can add to that, so sit back, crack open a cold one, and you know, hope you get something out of this. Alright kids, we got a whole lot of shit to get through and I ain't got a whole lot of time to do it. So this here is the land yacht, diesel powered land yacht, as we're firmly accustomed to on this channel. And like pretty much any other OBS Ford of this generation and with this mileage, she's been having some problems, mostly rectified over the last couple of years. Recently I've had something that I can't easily correct with, you know, some fluid additives or just bolt-ons. So first of all, the valve cover gaskets are puking, pissing, and queefing oil from every orifice that it possibly can. I have reason to believe that the oil cooler seals are pretty well shot. I have no reason to believe that they've been fixed on or changed out within the last like 30 years of this truck's existence. So went to cold start it in sub-zero temps. Well, that's sub-zero here down in the States, so pretty fucking cold. And when she finally fired off, she puked oil all over the ground, suspiciously in this area, which is also suspiciously where the oil cooler is. I mean, she's a 7.3 IDI, so she leaks oil like fucking everywhere, but every now and again, when it gets up to temp, the oil pressure starts to dip down randomly, both at idle and while moving. So that's not good. We got to get that taken care of, but that's something that I don't think I'm going to be able to take care of right now, just because of the location of the thing. I'm just going to continue to add oil as it pukes it out, which I don't want to have to do, but I kind of sort of need this truck to be operational soon. So problem number 2, loosely related to what we're fixing to do today, is I have no backup lights. I did check underneath the fuse panel, which you can't see very good because GoPro's lighting is pretty shit, but there's a fuse right there. You know what, let me get some lighting. Okay, so yeah, this 15 amp fuse right here, the blue one, check that out. We're good. I am getting 12 volts to that fuse block, so that's not an issue. I think the problem lies with somewhere in the wiring harness going from the business end to the ass end, and I think it's right along that rear cross member where it comes off at a 90 and then goes up into the tailgate area. So that's got to get fixed. Probably do that at the later end of this. And of course the biggest problem that I got right now is that the E4OD that's in this thing completely shit the bed. So I was able to pull it back into the garage here, but the big problem is that I don't have any gears above second. So when you're driving along, you put it in drive, which normally I would have to shift it manually between second and drive so that it didn't violently kick into gear. Basically, when you're going along and you shifted it from second to drive, it would shift normally into gear until it stopped doing that, and driving along the highway, it gets out of second gear and then doesn't go into another gear until you get back down into the RPM range or the speed range of second gear, and then it kicks back into second gear, and then when you get back up to speed, it kicks out of gear again. Now, I know there's a lot of eggheads out there who work with E4ODs all the time. They're probably going to give me a lot of shit and saying that this is probably something that's very easily fixable. And you're probably right, but here's the thing. 2 things, really. Number 1 is transmissions, automatic transmissions, are black magic to me. I mean, I have an electrical engineering background, and I still don't really get how they function. I mean, conceptually I understand how they function, but if you think I'm gonna pull that fucking slush box out and then rebuild it with all the fucking valves and the solenoids and everything else, I'm not interested. And reason number 2 is this is a normally aspirated or naturally aspirated IDI. It's absolutely gutless, and with the automatic transmission, it's I'm not gonna say it's unusable, but it's not ideal. If you had a 460 or a Power Stroke or an IDI Turbo, it makes a lot more sense to have an automatic, because automatic transmissions, when you're towing something, it's just a lot better. And I think anybody who has dealt with this issue probably knows exactly what I'm talking about. So to remedy that problem, I got this right here. This is if you watched my previous video working on that 89 brake nose, which I can you know, link that in the top right hand corner. Yeah, I know how to do that now. This is a ZF-5. There's the tag right there. Will it focus? Probably not. That's okay. So this is a ZF-5. I just got this thing cleaned up enough to be, you know, I don't feel ashamed to show it on camera, but yep, this is what I got going on. I'm in a ZF-5, swap this whole entire thing, and being that this is a four-wheel drive, it comes with its own complications, particularly the drive lines, so your drive shafts, front and rear, are different lengths than on the automatic, so you pretty much have to have an entire parts truck to make this happen. Obviously, that's kind of the route that I went. However, I got a brick nose, and this truck here is an OBS or a 9th gen or an Aero nose. Some people get like really fucking ass blasted when you call these OBS. I don't know why, but you know, it's kind of like when in '94 they came out with the Power Stroke, and they get really super anal. Oh, it's a 1994 direct injected turbo diesel, not a Power Stroke yet. It's a fucking Power Stroke. This is an OBS. Quit bitching, especially about stupid shit like that. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So you're gonna need, unless you're willing to spend the time and money to fab up your own shit, you're going to need the trans tunnel / doghouse. I call this a doghouse. I don't know what the actual name for this fucking thing is. You're going to need the ZF-5 Crossmember. And it differs between F250 and F350. The F250s have a flat spot where the front drive shaft goes into the front end. The F350s have sort of a dished out portion when they press that the way it is. You're also going to need drive shafts and all the associated parts with your shifter linkages and everything else, which I may have a problem with that in the future, but I'm just gonna cobble fuck some linkages to go from the E4OD to the ZF if that ever becomes a problem. I got some other miscellaneous parts. This is a rebuild kit for the transfer case, which I am going to do. I'll make another video on that. I got clutch / brake pedal bracket here, and there's your master slave combo in there, and I'll go through all that in detail. Don't worry, I'm not going to like gloss over all this crap, at least you know, long term. But the most important and obvious thing that you're going to need is a new clutch and flywheel kit. So this is the Luke, or L-U-K, I'm going to call it Luke clutch kits. 07-225 kit. This is specifically made for the IDIs. I think I don't think you can make this work with a Power Stroke. I think the flywheel, at least the way it bolts up to the crank snout, is a little bit different. So you're going to want to select your specific application. One other thing I forgot to mention is you're probably going to want to get a steering column for your 5-speed. Obviously, you can make the automatic column work, but it requires a little bit of cobbling together, and that's, well, I kind of want to keep the interior looking like it was made for a manual. I think that's pretty well it. I don't know. So, I say enough chit-chat. I want to get to work and start piecing this thing back together. The sooner I get it back together, the sooner it's going to be on the road. I already uninstalled the drive shaft, which you you may or may not be able to tell that, you know, that went absolutely swimmingly. Gee, I wonder what the Sawzall and the hacksaw was for. The joys of living in the fucking Midwest, I'm telling you. And I already got the transfer case fluid drained out. I am going to uninstall that and the skid plate. I'm not going to bore you with uninstalling the transfer case or the front drive shaft because I already went over how to do that in the 89 F250 disassembly. It's pretty much everything in that video is directly transferable to this video, and this is already going to be long enough as it is, so fuck yeah. I'm going to get the T-case uninstalled and the skid plate for that, the front drive shaft, and disconnect the linkages. And then when I bring you back in, we're going to get that E4OD busted out, hopefully. Alright, well that was a lot less painful than I had initially anticipated. Got the transfer case out just fine. Front and rear drive shafts. Well, I already had the rear drive shaft uninstallated, but one thing I was not expecting here was about a gallon of fucking ATF dripping out of the rear end of the E4OD, but other than that, it was a pretty smooth process. You just you got 6 bolts. In my case, it was 13 millimeter size of bolt head on that, and then you just disconnect your transfer case shifter linkage, and you disconnect your 4-wheel drive range sensor, and that's pretty much it. Out she comes. Now the transmission itself is going to be a little bit of a different story. I'm hoping I don't have to do a whole hell of a lot to... Ah, crap, my light. Yeah. I'm just hoping it's not going to be too terribly difficult. I do have to disconnect the tranny cooler lines. There's one there, and there's one up at the front. Yeah, and there's one up there, right beside the exhaust. Additionally, let's see here. There's this little cover right next to the exhaust. You got 2 bolts. You got, oh fuck, it's so difficult to show. You got 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there. There's this little cover plate right here, and that's your E4OD connector. That's what goes up into your, oh fuck, what's it called? Das Computer Maschine, the PCM. So the PCM is basically the brains behind the operation. It tells you when to shift, or it tells the transmission when to shift, and at what speed and whatnot. And then on the other side here, you have what's called your MLPS, which is this guy right here. This is your shift cable. So this guy, it's also called your range sensor, and that's what this connector is right here. All this is a dummy indicator. Basically, it tells your PCM what position you're shifted into: reverse, neutral, and drive. And this is also the deal what locks your starter out when it's in gear, so you can't start it while it's in gear. This is going to become pretty important later on, but for right now we're just going to disconnect that, and then afterwards we're going to pull off our inspection cover, which I'll show you that in just a little bit. I got a little bit of tranny fluid to clean up here, a little bit sopping wet still. So yeah, so your tranny cooler lines, your MLPS, and your E4OD connector. And then we're going to get up under there. We're going to disconnect the bolts from the torque converter. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. It's by no means the most orthodox way, but it's probably the most effective. Alright, well, it turns out I have every fucking size of line wrench except for 1/2 inch. Hope that doesn't become a problem. Oh, there it goes. Okay, alright. Good shit. I should probably keep my hand above the line because that thing's probably going to piss all over the place. Knowing my luck. Yeah, so that line's going to drain off a slight bit. I'm going to move you back a little. And get this pan underneath that. Let that drain off. I'm going to get some paper towels up in the back half of this case. While we're waiting for the tranny cooler line over here to dribble away, I think we'll go ahead and deal with this E4OD connector. Let's see, I'm going to guess 8mm. Am I right? Let's find out. I think that's an 8. It feels like an 8mm to me. Oh, I have like just enough, not just enough. Oh, I don't want to lose that. It's like right on top of the drain pan. Don't want that to fall in. Alright, this has a notch in it right there, so we can just lift that off. And that grants us access to the E4OD connector. That's that guy right there. So, let's go ahead and see if we can pop that off. I apologize, everybody. My cinematography is not all that great. However, there's only a select few angles I can really approach this. Got a Crossmember right in my face right now. But I'm doing this for you, so you can see what's going on. Now, do we have a tab on the back? I don't think we do. Okay, so that's kind of good. Let's go ahead and... Normally there's this tab right here that's supposed to be completely locked on, or down past these two tabs here. It's not locked down all the way. And it also looks like the connector is kind of busted a little bit. Let's see if I can get this thing off of here. Oh, this is going to turn into one big fucking problem, ain't it? There it goes. Come on. Alright. And that connector's loose. I think this is a 12-pin connector. Right? I got ATF dripping down my arm. Fuck. Yeah, that's a 12-pin connector. So, this is, yeah, I think I've said this already. This is the connector that goes up to your PCM, and it tells your shift machine to do shift machine things. Fuck. And there's one more tranny cooler line. It's right... Where is it? Yeah, it's right there. However, I can only get to it if I can see it. And I don't want you to get any transmission fluid in your eyes, so I'm going to do that off camera. But that's where that is. It's right up close to the bell housing. You can't fucking miss it. Alright, children. I got the transmission leaking all fucking over the floor. Now where I got my fucking quick deploy shit pan going on over there in short order. So this is what we got going on here. So this is your transmission case shift lever. Already took the liberty of removing the trans tunnel / floor pan dealio. Hello inside of the truck. So what we got going on here is I've got got a lot of cross members in my way, so you're gonna have to forgive me a little bit here. So got the transfer case shifter here. I've already removed the shift lever. It's just a 13 mil / ½ inch there. So I don't know if I gave you a really good view of it the last time, but let's go right here. This whole assembly coming off the side, that is your manual lever position sensor, or MLPS, also called a transmission range sensor, and that's what tells your PCM, hey, he shifted into this gear and what such. So also you got your shift lever coming off there into your cab and into the steering column. So this is just a ball and socket. You just pop that off with a pickle fork, which is frankly one of the only uses for a pickle fork. And also this MLPS is suspiciously new. So I think the people, or the guy rather, that I got this hunk of Ford off of pretty much already knew that this transmission had some problems and tried remedying it with a new MLPS. And I'm guessing that once he figured out that didn't solve anything, it was time to get rid of it. And that's where I come in. And the rest is history. But not really worried about that. Pretty much all I've got left to do now is to disconnect the connector for the MLPS, disconnect that shift linkage arm dealio there, disconnect it from the bracket on the transmission itself, and then, no light, hashtag bad lighting. Oh man, look at me, I'm such a fucking expert fucking camera operator. Look at this guy. Everybody put down in the comment section, this guy's a fucking idiot. So there's your transmission inspection cover right there. Ooh, look at all the fucking 7.3 sweat that's leaked all over the down pipe, or the Y pipe for the exhaust. That's healthy. Yeah, so swirl. There's your fucking inspection cover there. We're going to pop that off. I think those are either 8 or 10 mil bolts right there. I think there's just 2 of them. You pop those off, and then you can take a peep up into your flywheel, and I will demonstrate that, because you have to roll the engine over and disconnect the what do you call it? Not the fucking pressure plate. This is an automatic flex plate. You gotta disconnect the flex plate from the torque converter. And yeah, that's pretty much where that's gonna go. I like the fact that they replaced this one bolt with a non-factory bolt. You can see those are factory bolts. That's a regular bolt with a washer. What the fuck's going on there? A little bit odd. I mean, it's held up, but a little bit weird. Anyway, let's get this inspection cover popped off, and we'll go from there. Alright, confirmed. This is in fact a 10 mil socket, so buzz these off. Oh. What in the fuck?
can't be serious, are you? And this is a 10, but it's not cooperating. What in the shit? Alright, well, let's try a 3/8. That's really fucking weird, because everything else on this whole project has either been 10 or 13 mil up to this point, except for like the crossmember bolts. Alright, well, that busted it off. Well, note to self. Inspection cover is 3/8. Well, note to you, because I sure as fuck ain't gonna use this transmission ever again. Oh, actually, I think the ZF does not have an inspection cover with it. I might use this again, maybe. Let's see, it appears we have a few more bolts going on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. One there. God damn it. Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to bust those off with a ratcheting wrench, because there ain't no way in fuck I'm gonna fit my impact in there. Alright, well, I'll just bring you back whenever I get that busted off. Oh, well, hello, long time no see. So, we got the old inspection cover off, and as you can see, there are these bolts. These guys right here. Now, on the IDIs, there are 4 of these, and these go straight to your flex plate, which is this big flywheel looking guy. I don't know why we can't call it a flywheel, but whatever. I guess it's got too little mass for a flywheel, and thus, well, I guess it's got the torque converter to contend with in terms of mass, so I guess it equals a flywheel. Regardless, so there are these 4 bolts we gotta deal with, and in order to get to these bolts, this is pretty much the only way that you can access them is from this side of the driver's side of the engine. As you can see, that's the oil filter right there. That's doing a really shit job of keeping oil inside the truck. Well, I guess that mainly has a lot to do with the fucking valve covers, but so this is your only access point to undo those nuts to the flex plate. And obviously, in order to get to all 4 of them, you need to turn the engine over. Now, there are 3 ways to do this. You can do it the hard way, which is hook a breaker bar straight to your front crank pulley and bar it over manually. That's kind of a pain in the dick. I kind of don't want to do that. So there's method number 2, which is to go up into your cab and crank the key over a little bit at a time, and then come back down here every single time and make sure you you know, you got it aligned the correct way. Or you can do what I did and rig up a couple of wires to your anti-theft, and you can fucking roll your engine over from the underside. It's a little bit sketchy, and kind of puckers up the old butthole, but you can't tell me it's not effective. Because honestly, fuck having to, you know, go up into the cab, crank the key, go back under with the fucking creeper, look, oh, it's not the right orientation. Fuck. Go back, come back out from under it, go back into the cab, crank the key. You get the idea. Kind of a pain. I don't want to have to deal with that. And so all you gotta fucking do is take these 2 wires and do this. Watch that, huh? Huh? Is that not effective? I mean, fuck. So, yeah, that's pretty much what you do. So, I'm gonna get this thing rolled over and get these 4 bolts taken off. I still don't know what fucking size those Well, I guess it's nuts, not bolts, but still don't know what size they are, so I gotta get that all taken care of. Alright, progress report. We got the torque converter bolts out, or nuts rather. Yeah, that wasn't very fun. That was probably one of the biggest struggle fests I've ever fucking had in my entire life, but we got them out. Gave up a little bit early last night. I got a little bit distracted, you know how it is. And while I was out, the transmission decided it wanted to piss ATF all over the floor. So that's cool. Oh, and by the way, if you want a pro tip here, the same company that makes the cheapest fucking kitty litter you can possibly get also makes oil dry. I forget exactly what the brand of kitty litter is, but it's quite literally the cheapest you can possibly get at Walmart. It's like $2 for whatever size bag it is, and you get a fuckload of it too. And you just get a couple of those bags, dump it in a 5-gallon bucket, and then you basically use it as you need it. So yeah, that wasn't very fun. I spent like probably half hour, 45 minutes trying to clean that shit up. But we're pretty well in the end zone of getting ready to get this thing rocketed out of there. I used a piece of Gorilla Tape to act as a dam, because the back of that tranny is leaking ATF, so I just put that up there to stop it from dripping all over the crossmember and then dripping all over the fucking floor. So I think all I got left to do now is to undo all the stuff from the crossmember, get the tranny unbolted from the crossmember. The filler tube / dipstick tube for the transmission comes off. If it doesn't want to come off, then I'm gonna sawzall it because I don't need it anymore. And then I'm gonna get the train jack up under here and get ready to buzz those bolts out. And I think at that point we're pretty well set to drop it. I'll bring you back in once I'm ready to get that done. Welcome to the Struggle Fest. This is where the struggle happens. Hope you're ready to watch me have fun. Damn, that's loud. Phooey. Alright. Alright. Cool. Fucking transmission wiring harness fucking bullshit. Fuck. Okay, I don't know why the fuck that happened, but anyway, I'm gonna leave this last bolt up in this side, because on this side of the cross member, it wraps up around onto the outside of the frame, and the other side sits on the frame rail. And currently this one bolt's the only thing holding up the transmission from coming and crashing down. So we're going to leave that up in here until we get the tranny jack up under the, well, the 41% suicide rate, and then at that point jack that end of it up, and then we'll remove this bolt and then the cross member itself, and then we should be able to lower the transmission down. Go ahead and get rid of these two bolts right here. Let's see. Those appear to also be 18 millimeter, which is fantabulistic. Okay. Oh, what the shit? Oh, is this a different fucking size? This is a different size. What the hell? Why are these two different? Why are these two different sizes? That makes no fucking sense. Why are these two fucking sizes? That makes no fucking sense. Alright, well, that's out now. Okay, cross member's completely unbolted. Our next task is to get the fluid fill deal uninstallated, and then bust out the individual transmission bolts holding it to the engine. There are, I believe, 6 of those, and due to the confined nature of this, I probably won't film it. So, sorry about that. I'll bring you back when I bring you back. Alright, well, we're in the end zone now. So, got the tranny jack up under it, and also got a ratchet strap holding it down, securing it to the bottom of the jack. Just avoid any sort of liability. I gotta kind of get this done real quick. I'm in a race against time. I don't know if you can hear the thunder and lightning or the ridiculous amount of rain that's coming down, but yeah, that's happening. So the seals on the bottom of the door are quite shot, and I don't know if you can see that puddle going on over there. Fucking rainwater leaks from under the door like a son of a bitch. But at this point, all I got now are the 2 bolts at the top of the tranny, and then lift this bastard up off the fucking cross member here. I don't know how heavy this thing is, but she's a thick girl. She's really big in the thighs, so kind of want to exercise a little bit of caution here, just in case some weird shit happens. So, wish me luck. All right, I think that's it. I think. Let's see here. Trying to. Let's see. Oh, I gotta get that cross member off, and I forgot what fucking size that is. All right. Okay. All right, there's that. Okay. Cross member. Done. Theoretically, that should be it. Let's see. Is that it? Come this way, baby. Oh, yeah. Might be caught on a couple of... Oh, shit. Okay, yep. going on the fucking 4-wheel drive shit. Oh shit. Don't go. No. Don't you dare. Oh fuck. I guess I'm gonna have to. But get that. Let the tranny drain a little bit. Alright, bitch. I need you to go that way. Oh, shit. Okay. Alright. Shit. Fuck. Okay. I'm spilling fucking fluid everywhere. Okay. Okay. God, there's a lot of fucking fluid in this cocksucker. Okay, I think I can put this over here temporarily. Okay. Don't spill that fucking thing. Whoa, hey. Oh, that's stuck. Ow. That's not locked into anything. Okay, move this cooler line out of the way. I think that's it. All right. Now, you need to jack this thing way up now. And that's the most it's gonna go down. All right, well, that's her. Oh, this is a fucking recipe for disaster, if I've ever seen one. Okay. Alright. Unfortunately, I do not have the clearance required to just lift this thing up. My jack here is completely maxed out. And that's just the fucking way she goes. So, get all this crap out of the way. I should be able to simply, maybe not so simply, rotate this fucking slush box. Yeah. Just gonna rotate the knob this way. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna tape up the back just a little bit more. This isn't dangerous. This ain't dangerous at all. Oh, this is gonna be real fucking dangerous. Well, ooh. Oh, there she goes. Whew. Real fucking dangerous. Okay. But part of being a man, life is intrinsically dangerous. And that's just something that you need to fucking account for. Let's just get that up there like that. Also, if this jack falls, I'm fucking dead. Yeah, if you're wondering why I'm wearing this whole fucking ski mask dealio, you try having long hair and doing shit underneath your fucking truck. Holy shit. Well, shit, I mean, the fuck else is there to say? I have emerged victorious over my foe. But, war ain't over yet. I still got a lot of shit to clean up here. I think that's it for tonight. And right now, I gotta get all my stuff out of the way of the oncoming water. Oh, look at that extension cord just laying in the fucking water. That's cool. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for right now. I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna pack up. And I got a transfer case to rebuild. That's gonna be its own little video. And then once that's done, we're gonna mock it up to this. Get the four-wheel drive shifter dealio off of that. See if we can throw it onto here. And if we have to adapt it, which I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen, then so be it. Until then, I am happy as fuck. I'm gonna light me up a victory smoke, and that's gonna do it for right now. See you guys whenever the next one is, and that's gonna fucking do it. Oh, greetings. It's been about a week since we last spoke and saw each other. You're gonna have to mind the fan in the background. It's almost 100 degrees inside the old garage here, and it's got a ridiculous amount of humidity. Being a Midwesterner, I ain't used to that, so any of you Floridians that are watching this laughing at my demise, you know, I guess I'd be laughing too if I saw any of you guys trying to survive in 30, 40 below. But so progress report, let's see, I'm trying to remember where I left off. So the shift machine came out with, well, I'm not going to say it was ease, but it didn't really give me that much trouble, at least not as much as I was thinking. The real kick to the dick was these goddamn torque converter bolts. That was a fucking nightmare, but managed to get those out. And well, now we got this torque converter, or not torque converter, the flex plate to take off. Now when I take this off, there's a spring right here. I think they call it a backing plate. We're gonna reuse this because the Luke clutch kit comes with all the shit that we need to do this convert, at least the clutch side of the equation. It doesn't come with any sort of a well, this ring. So basically what this is, it's a giant washer that goes between the head of the bolt and the back of the crank. So it's important. We're gonna hold on to that, and we're also going to well, I don't really think there's really any plan to this. I'm kind of just taking shit apart right now. Still gotta do a factory delete on the transmission cooler lines. I was going to use this for the ZF because the ZF doesn't have a an internal transmission coolant or ATF circulator, so it doesn't really well, what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have cooler lines, like it doesn't externally evacuate its ATF in order to you know, run it through a heat exchanger. It just it relies on air cooling to sort of chill it down, and that's kind of the death of ZFs when you use them in heavy duty towing applications. But being that this is a normally aspirated IDI, I don't really think I'm gonna be doing a whole lot of heavy towing with it. So I think with that, we'll find the right sockets to fit those bolts, buzz those off, and hopefully I don't drop this fucking thing on my legs. But if that does happen, you know, you get to have a laugh at my expense. I didn't do this video necessarily as a how-to. I'm making this video because, you know, kind of an infotainment type of deal. And I'm okay with people having a laugh at my expense, you know. I don't take myself all that seriously. Just, you know, one of those things. Crack open a beer and watch me struggle. Let's see here. 16, and then we got 15. I'm guessing that's a standard bolt. That's probably, oh, I don't know, 5/8. Actually, the 16 mil fits on it a little bit better. So we'll roll with it. Alright, so this thing's probably just gonna fall off. Hopefully not. Well, I guess we'll see. Okay, let's catch this bolt. Gently let this thing... Oh, that's not heavy at all. Oh, fuck. Alright. This is your crank adapter. Now, an important thing to remember is, at least I'm 99% sure, we're not going to reuse this guy. This is the spacer that goes between the your flex plate and the ass end of the crank there. And if you do end up putting this behind your flywheel, it's going to cause all kinds of fuckery, and you're basically going to hate yourself. So, alright, well, I'm going to call that a rousing success. You can definitely tell old valve covers are sweating. Now a smarter man than I would probably go ahead and replace on the rear main. However, smart man I am not, so I mean, it honestly doesn't look that bad. I think most of the oil that's leaking in around the engine is just leaking it from, like, I don't know if you can see it very good or not, but there is a fuckload of oil coming down from the top of the valve covers, from both of them in fact, and it's just made its way inside here. I'm assuming that's where that all happened. Yeah, just a bunch of 7.3 sweat. No biggie though. So what I'm going to do now is just get most of this all cleaned up and ready to go. Oh, and before I forget, there are these two bolts up here that are holding on this, I forget exactly what they call it. I call it the adapter plate. So basically, I want to say the 7.3 has... It uses the same exact adapter plate on the E4OD as it does with the ZF. I'm pretty sure, because if this thing does need a special adapter plate from the ZF, I'm kind of fucked, because the old brick nose, she kind of took a trip up the river. Scrap value is up, what can I say? So, yeah, let me go measure the bolts, the pattern between the ZF and the E4OD. I'm pretty sure that this isn't an issue, but I want to be 100% sure. Anyway, Yeah, it's just basically going to involve a whole fuckload of prep work and a whole bunch of other stupid stuff. But yeah, most of the grunt work is done. It's now just a bunch of stupid stuff like removing the tranny cooler lines. I'm not gonna reuse these. I thought I was again, and I'm just not. There's also the shift cable bracket deal, and then there's also this side cross member gusset that needs to get taken off, which that's going to be a pain in the ass because there's a bolt that runs right up into the floor of the cab. Yippee! That's going to be fun. And she does not look rust free. Alright, so we got the ZF here and the E4OD right there. Torque converter still in it. So I did take a tape measure and do kind of a half-ass measurement between the center line of where it would go into the crank. Well, in this case it would be a pilot bearing. But everything, by all accounts, seems to match up. So that's really good. My suspicions were confirmed. The only problem is I do not have an inspection plate for the ZF. And the one for the E4OD will not work on this. As you can see, there's the bolt there and another bolt hole right there that would go into the inspection cover, and the bolt holes for the E4OD are like right there and right there. So yeah, that just that ain't gonna work. And in some research I found that a lot of dudes actually look for these in particular, excuse me, and they're getting harder and harder to find every single day. I might have to scavenge a junkyard. I relocated a parts truck that has a 7.3 and a ZF-5. It's two-wheel drive, but who cares at this point? So hopefully that one has an inspection cover on that, because if not, I'm gonna have to make my own, and I really don't want to have to do that. But yeah, you definitely want to have an inspection cover on that, just to you don't want things from the outside getting into your bell housing, because when it gets into your bell housing, it also gets on your clutch, and that's a bad time. So yeah, there's not much else to say there. I'm gonna get the transfer case mounted up to the back of this, because I gotta figure out how to kludge the transfer case shifter linkage from that onto that, because again, I don't know if I said this before, but the ZF is substantially shorter than the E4OD by I forget exactly how much, but it's a noticeable amount. It's like somewhere around 4 to 6 inches. So the linkage that goes from the transfer case shifter to the actual fuck, I forget what you call it. There's like the shifter arm on the transfer case. They're different sizes. I think on the ZF it's shorter, which I have the ZF size linkage for it, but the thing is, this came off of a brick nose, and the brick nose and the OBS trucks have completely different transfer case shifters, which I'll get into all the intricacies of that later on, but it's definitely something that we're gonna have to make note of. And if it comes down to it, I can just modify this linkage here, or I can always take it off of the one from that transmission, whatever has better bushings. These ones look like they've seen better days. Of course, they're from 1989, so I wouldn't expect them to be in perfect condition. Alright, so I got us set up here a little bit, turn the fan off so you can actually hear me talk maybe a little bit. So we got the E4OD Crossmember right there, and then we have the ZF
crossmember there. So with the E4OD crossmember, it's virtually identical to the ZF. It comes out a little bit further right here than that one, and then mounting location is basically exactly the same, and then over on here it has this sort of up curve, and you have 3 bolts that go into the passenger side on the outside of the frame. I have seen a guy somewhere on the forums who will he took his E4OD crossmember and then modded it to fit the ZF, but the only thing you had to actually do was drill 3 new holes further up into the frame, and then pretty much made a gusset that went from that to the other side too. And obviously, for demonstration purposes, that's the gusset, and that's how it would normally sit on the frame. And usually how you do that is you put transmission in first, and then you put the crossmember in, get that bolted down, bolt your transmission down, and then you get your gussets all both bolted into place. Now, the frame on pretty much all Ford trucks of this generation have the mounting holes. They all have the same through holes for bolts, so that, you know, whether when they came off the assembly line, it didn't matter whether it had an auto or a 5-speed. It just came with those holes from the factory, and if this truck so happened to come with an auto, they would just install this cross member, and they wouldn't have to drill the holes specifically for that. It just already came with it. So it pretty much takes the brain work out of that, which is great, because if we're doing this kind of swap, that makes it a hell of a lot easier, and you don't gotta go drilling holes in your frame. Both of the skid plates between the brick nose and the OBS are completely identical as far as I can tell, so I'm gonna reuse the one that came off of this truck. It's a lot more rust free, and thus it's a lot easier to give a rattle bomb job and hold up over time that way. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and actually first, hang on, I don't think I demonstrated this yet, but these are your two transmission tunnels, transmission tunnel covers / doghouse, whatever you want to call the damn things. Guess which one has the 5-speed. Anyway, yeah, these are completely interchangeable. They both have exactly the same bolt hole locations. In fact, if I set one on top of the other, they're literally identical, aside from this is stamped with an X right there, so that it gives it strength, because, you know, reasons. So if you don't have a transmission tunnel cover from a 5-speed, you can simply just cut it out of your automatic doghouse. So that's not exactly ideal. That's why I pulled this one off, so I can use it. But it's good information to know. They're completely interchangeable. One thing I definitely need to do is need to clean up all the seam sealer and all the fucking grease and dirt and gravel. Oh, it's a lot of cleaning, a lot of fucking prep work involved in this job. Anyway, just some subtle intricacies between the two generations and also the two different types of trucks. It's interesting to see that the brick nose interior and the OBS interior fundamentally hasn't changed between those year ranges, so that's kind of cool. And it works out for me in my favor, so you know what? I'll take any advantage I can get at this point. Not complaining. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Alright, so this whole fucking four-wheel drive shifter linkage thing has been the absolute bane of my existence for the last probably week or more. But I finally pulled through, or at least I think I've finally made a breakthrough at least. So as promised, I'm going to compare and contrast shifter linkages and everything as it pertains to ZF and brick nose versus OBS generation things. So what we got going on here is the OBS shifter linkage, and you may or may not notice that this has been modified on to fit accordingly, which is a story all on its own. Now, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but that stamping right there on that shifter backplate thing, which is this right here, says E4OD, but we're attached to a manual transmission. How can that be? So come to find out that the two bolts that thread into these two bosses right here on the back of the what do you call this, the extension housing, between the E4OD and the ZF, they're exactly the same. However, if this was a universal bracket, it wouldn't just say E4OD, it would say E4OD slash ZF-HD, which this only says E4OD. Now, the reason for this is, since the ZF is, again, shorter than the E4OD on the back end, the linkage right here naturally is shorter. So, because it's shorter, the geometry and the angle of the dangle and how it all interacts is different than on what you would have on the ZF. So basically, to make a short story even shorter, or a long story short, I guess, depending on how you fucking look at it, well, some fuckery had to go into fabricating this whole entire ordeal. So as I just mentioned, this bracket back here just bolts right up to the ZF. The hardware even is exactly the same. So technically, you don't have to go off and spend $200-300 from some scalper on Fleabay to get yourself a true, genuine OBS shifter linkage. But in order to make this work, what you're going to have to do, I'll see if I can pull this off. I drilled out these plastic bushings to make this easier, because I had to fucking take this on and off like 1,000 fucking times. So what's going on here is we have a genuine Ford Motorcraft part. This is E8TA-BA, and it says ZF-HD. You probably can't see it that great because GoPro fucking sucks at focusing. But even so, this linkage came off the brick nose, which I have the hardware for over there. Now, I thought this was going to be a simple, you know, fake it till I make it, and just take the ZF linkage and just plop her right on in there. Well, it ain't so easy. So, ultimately, from center to center on these plastic bushings It was something along the lines of 5.5-ish inches. And again, this is the shifter linkage that came off the brick nose. So what I had to do was shorten it to 4.5 inches, and the reason for that is when I shift this into fur-by, that needs to come along with. But something magical happens when you're in two-wheel and then you go into fur-by proper. So the distance between the two titties here, that and that, so from this is, oh, let me get my ruler. So from center to center right now in 2x is 4.25. But when I shift it hypothetically into 4 high, take my handy dandy fucking crescent wrench here. Oop, that's neutral. Oop, that's back to 2. And then we shift her, make sure it's using it in the detent. When we shift her into fur-by proper, we now have 4.5. So, problem the first is the distance between center to center on those, fuck, I don't know what you call them. I'm going to call them studs. But when you go from 2 to 4, that distance increases ever so slightly by almost a 1/4 inch. So that's where the geometry of all of this comes in. So with my amazingly powerful brain, what I did was, okay, yeah, that's in fur-by. What I did was I put this in fur-by, and then put the transfer case manually in fur-high as well. And then I took the linkage, cut it in half, give it enough room to, you know, splice a piece of 1/2 inch steel stock. It's actually drill rod, the expensive shit. And then I just booger welded it together with the Easy Bake 125 from the Hazard Fart. So at the most, I would have 4.5 inches to contend with. Now I can't even get the damn thing together. Son of a bitch. Oh, fuck. Oh, this is so professional. Alright, whatever. That's good enough. So you can see what I'm talking about. So I basically put her in fur-by, well, 4 high. So that way, when I shift it back into 2, even though the linkage is set for 4.5 center to center, and in 2x it would normally be 4.25 center to center, it really doesn't matter because the detents inside the bracket there are, you're basically not going to max them out. So instead you're gonna max out the shift cam on the transfer case. So it kind of balances out, right? Now there's this isn't a perfect system, so what I had to do ultimately was I had to grind off. You know what, let me just take this thing off and I'll show you. Alright, so we got that up out of the way so you can kind of sort of see what the hell I'm talking about here. So this is what your these guys here interact with on those shift detents there. Now I had to take a carbide burr and sort of mill away on that there so that it actually would fully engage in fur-by. And nothing else I really changed because I really didn't have to. Over here would be 4 low, and somewhere in this general area, fucking quads, so somewhere in this general area would be neutral, which, to be honest, I'm probably never going to use either of these, the 4 low or neutral. I really just don't give a shit. These fucking IDIs are geared like a goddamn tractor, and even in 4 high, you could probably pull a fucking house down in first gear with this transmission geared the way it is. I think first gear is, what, 4 point some odd. Oh, in fact, it's on the tag here. Yeah, 4.14 to 1 ratio. So this thing's, or the flywheel turns 4.14 times for every single time that, and it turns once. And then when you put it in 4 low, it doubles that ratio. So then you got, what, 8.28 to 1. Yeah, these things are geared ridiculously low. And kind of out of necessity, but that's beyond the scope of what we're talking about here. Basically, long story short, I'm probably never going to use 4 low, but more than probably like once or twice in the entire lifetime that I own this automobile. So I'm genuinely just not concerned with you know, keeping up appearances and having 4 low. I mean, don't get me wrong, this still works. 4 low works perfectly fine. It's just that the D10 in that bracket is, it's a little bit off, because again, that was meant for an E4OD automatic, and we have a ZF. So, you know, hey, the parts were free. I'm using what I got, and I don't like having to concobulate original, genuine Ford parts, because obviously they ain't making this shit no more. But you know, one of those necessity is the mother of invention type of things. And truth be told, anybody could realistically do this. You really don't have to have all that much mechanical aptitude to do what I just did. You just have to, you know, use more than 2 brain cells and be 2% smarter than your drivetrain setup. But oh shit, I almost forgot. So here's the E4OD transfer case shifter linkage compared to the ZF shifter linkage. Notice how, like, this is twice the size. God, my fucking neighbors are so nosy. Okay, so oh, what a fucking mess this video is gonna be. So, on the brick nose trucks, your bracket is mounted like this. Now you notice your detents are up here instead of down there like it is on the OBS. I don't know why they had to make that different. I don't know what was fucking wrong with this system, but I don't know. It's really not theoretically better or worse. And how your actual shifter arm deal would sit on that bracket is sort of like this, and instead of pushing down via a plunger, it would sort of lever down, and then you have this guy right here which would engage into there, and then your breather hose attaches here, and supposedly this would attach to a C6 automatic, theoretically. I don't know. 'Cause I don't know what the hell that is. You can see where this came off this actual transmission here. I don't know. Part numbers that you probably can't fucking see because of this goddamn camera. But yeah, that's the difference between OBS and brick nose. This thing's seized caught stiff, so that's no fucking good. I might sell that. I don't know. People are charging exorbitant prices for OEM parts. It's fucking unbelievable. But well, that's another hurdle overcome. So I'm gonna pull the bracket and the linkage off. I have shifter bushings. These little guys, little plastic things. These things are kind of notorious. I thought about doing a Haim joint mod, kind of like you do for the clutch pedal, but I found these, and so, well, I'm going to use them. And go to torqueking.com. Hang on. Let me find their shit. Torque King. And there's the part number if you're ever looking for these, because these things wear out all the fucking time. And you just slobber some fucking grease on these bad boys, and then you install them, press them into place, and then you got brand new shifter linkage bushing things. Bushing shift link. I guess that's what they're calling them. So yeah, I thought I would never be able to find these, and I will happily shill Torque King till the day I die, or before they, or until they fuck me over somehow, which they ain't done. They've always done right by me. I shilled the ever-living fuck out of these guys during my transfer case rebuild video. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I'm just gonna get all this cleaned up, do a little bit of a rattle bomb job on the linkage and the bracket, and then I think next step is installing the flywheel and clutch. I don't know. I'm a little bit intoxicated, so we'll just get back. Alright, well, we're inching closer and closer to getting done. I just installed the pilot bearing via this tool right here. If you saw my transfer case rebuild video, you probably are very firmly acquainted with that. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, pilot bearing installed. Of course, this is the transmission side of the flywheel. You drive your pilot bearing in from this side and down. At least that's the way I'm pretty sure it goes. I don't see how the fuck else it could possibly go. So, of course, we're going to reuse this backing plate, as I stated earlier, almost certainly, and that's going to sit on there like that. And then we can get our crank bolts put in. Now, in the kit, of course, they have, you know, flywheel mounting bolts. And of course, you torque those to spec, and then goes your pressure plate and clutch combo, and it also comes with the pilot bearing centering tool, which it's a good thing it has. This is pretty much a must-have for this job. And then of course you have your clutch mounting bolts, and then this will become relevant not too long afterwards. So let's go ahead and get this bad boy rocketed together. Let's see if I can injure myself. Alright, well, this ought to be a fucking treat. Okay, so... oh, this thing's not light. Okay. $1,000,000 question. Can I hold it with one hand and install bolts with the other? Let's see here. I'm going to do that. Now it should rest on this lip in the crank snout. I guess we'll find out here. Let's see. Oh, Christ. Oh, this is not fun. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it should rest up against that snout. I don't see why it would. Oh, fuck. Okay. So we got mostly lined up. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, this is gonna be bad. Okay, alright, okay. No. Hey. Ah, bastard. Okay. This would be a lot easier if I didn't have you sitting right there. But I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of, whenever I play back footage of me doing this kind of shit, I always get kind of a chuckle out of it.
Okay, see, let's try that again. Sort of line it up. Fuck. Oh. Huh? I think we got it. Oh, you filthy bastard. Holy fucking shit. Okay. So I think that's lined up. Because this thing does have a dead hole. Just lightly snug this. Huh? All right, I think that's lined up. Let's see, I got. I mean, doesn't look too bad to me. All right, well, let's rocket the rest of the fucking bolts in this dirty cocksucker. Oh yeah, another thing is, while you have the flex plate off and everything off, you want to go in with a little bit of brake clean with a straw. And, I think I fucked up your view a little bit there, friend. Apologize. Okay, you want to go in with brake clean and a straw in each and every one of these holes here. And you're gonna want to blow them out with an air gun, because each and every one of these bolts has a little bit of Loctite pre-applied to them, and oil and Loctite doesn't really get along all that good. Plus it cleans up your threads a whole bunch. All right, buzz these in. All right, so yeah, it looks pretty good to this old man. So now we got those all started in there. I'm gonna take my torque wrench and we're going to have this thing, the manual says between 45 and 49 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go on the opposite of conservative. I'm gonna go straight up to 49. So give that extra little bit of holding power. I don't really think it fucking matters, but you know, it's the thought that counts. Oh, you know what? I forgot to grab a paint marker. Oh well. I'll just have to remember that, you know. Uh-oh. Oh no. Okay. Fuck. So let's go back down to 45. Because I'm starting to crank my engine over. Okay, that's good. Now we'll do this one. That one and that one. We'll do this one next. Okay, and this one. And this one. And this one. Okay, I'll go back around. Alright, well cool. That is all of our flywheel bolts put into place. Now the next order of business is I'm gonna hose this brake clean and get that cleaned off. As you can see, there's a lot of oily shit. This right here from this lip to the teeth, that's the surface that really matters. Well, technically it's like only about that much that really matters, but yeah, we definitely want to get the oil and grease residue off of that surface so that it doesn't fuck with our organic clutch material thing. And I'm bringing it back when I'm ready to install the clutch and pressure plate. All right, pressure plate, meet clutch. Now, in case you're confused, there is 2 different sides. As you can see, a little bit more stick out on this side than there is on that. But in case you're you know, wondering, or if you're confused, what was it? I think it's this side. Where is it? Yep, right there. It says flywheel side. So this side that doesn't have as much stick out goes toward the flywheel, and the setup is going to be something like that. And of course, we're going to have our pilot bearing tool. First, we got to set this whole assembly up onto there, and then we're going to put our pilot bearing tool, and that's going to engage the splines here. This damn well should. And then that's going to be all centered up, and we're going to be ready to torque I think there's 8 of these bolts, or 38s, and these get torqued anywhere between 15 to 20. I got my torque wrench set to 20, and that's how we're going to do that. Alright, so I got you guys sitting up in the cab. Is it as good of a view? Not really, but this way we're, you know, not in each other's way here. So, I'm going to tip this up, get the pilot bearing tool situated. Come on. It's kind of being a difficult bastard. Okay, so now we should be able to set it up just like this. Stick that in a hole somehow, some way. There we go. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Make sure that's stuck all the way in there. Yeah, that seems right. Okay. This ain't as difficult as installing the flywheel, but still poses a little bit of a challenge. Get these bolts started, and that's looking like that's going to be held in place real nice and good, like, hopefully. Just for shits and giggles, and go ahead and get these in there just a little bit more. Whoopsie. Back those off a little bit. We want a little bit of wiggle room here. Make sure we're all centered up and such. Okay, so a lot of people, well, not a whole lot of people, but there's been quite a few people, both in my personal life and on the interwebs, who ask me, how did you get so good at wrenching on shit or fixing on things, or really any sort of niche anything? And I gotta be honest with you, I'm really not good at anything that I do. I abide by the classic cliche of, you know, oh, what is it? Jack of all trades and master of none. I have a bunch of different hobbies that I enjoy, whether it's electronics, firearms, construction, I'm wrenching on shitty old Ford trucks. And there was a point in time when, you know, I didn't know my ass from a hat when it came to most of this stuff. Whoops. But at some point, you just have to decide to, you know, get down, get your fucking hands dirty, and learn how to wrench on shit. I know there are Chevy and Dodge guys who probably watch this, and they're like, haha, Ford guy, dirt. And you know, that's fine. You know, I started off wrenching on trucks with a, it was an old square body Chevy, which is one of the reasons why I'm honestly not a big fan of square bodies. I think they're made very cheap. General Motors absolutely shit those trucks out by the tens of millions between the late 70s and the late 80s, and the fucking shit that they make the bodies out of is absolutely just abysmal. But I also had a 98 half-ton 1500 K1500, and that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth with Chev and whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not bad trucks intrinsically. It's just I can't get behind the Chevy suspension, just changing out fucking ball joints, tie rods, and CV axles every time you do an oil change. It gets old after a while. And, you know, Fords have their problems too, particularly the power strokes. And, the 5.4 Triton, yeesh. Let me start it on that fucking thing. But, anyway, getting back to, skills and, what such. I mean, honestly, to get into this, you really don't even need to have any mechanical knowledge whatsoever. You know, you just have to have aptitude. Again, another Ford cliche. Henry Ford famously said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. This is my first time doing a transmission swap, at least from auto to manual. And I gotta be real with you, I don't have any idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm kind of just, you know, relying on the experience of others to sort of guide me along my way, and that kind of help has been absolutely indispensable. But, you know, even though this is kind of a pain in the ass, you know, I'm making it along just fine, you know. You don't have to have fucking $100,000 worth of snap-on tools and a fucking professionally fucking built pole barn. You just gotta, again, you just gotta have some kind of aptitude. You know, you see all these professionals from, like, you know, Motor Trend and all these other fucking channels, Cletus McFartland and all this other shit. And don't get me wrong, I ain't got nothing against those guys personally. I love watching them, but, like, I feel like a lot of these automotive influencers give kids the wrong idea, and they think that, you know, oh, I gotta have a gigantic shop with fucking all the fancy shit. And you don't. You just need a garage and go to fucking Harbor Freight and get you a fucking half decent tool set and just start fucking wrenching on shit. Get you some kind of a shitty old beater, you know, one of those cars that you can get parts easily for. I will say that's a big caveat. You definitely want to get something that has really good parts availability. But like a Ford Ranger. Ford Rangers are fucking everywhere, and they're dirt ass cheap. I mean, they are dirt fucking cheap, especially up here in the Rust Belt. You can get a used Ranger with like 150 grand on the clock for as little as 2,000 or 3,000, depending on how much meth the seller is tweaked out on. But yeah, man, like, if you're watching this, and I assume you know, if you're watching me do a transmission swap, you probably have some kind of idea of what's going on. But like, in case you don't, you know, again, like, I'm operating out of a fucking 20 by 22 garage with, and I have, you know, I got a few $1,000s worth of Snap-on in my box, but I didn't start off that way. You know, you see me with, you know, this fancy pants fucking Milwaukee Light. I got a few of them, and didn't used to be that way. Started off broke as fuck, and you know, really shitty tools. And it's like Clint Eastwood said in Gran Torino, you know, over the course of several years, a man just gets a whole bunch of or he just you know, fuck, what am I trying to say? You just you gather tools over time. Doesn't have to be the highest quality. I mean, shit, I'm using a fucking Icon torque wrench, and that's perfectly good enough for my practical purposes. I fucking love this thing. I have Snap-on ratchets and fucking Matco and Mac and Cornwell. But let me tell you, this fucking Icon stuff is absolutely tits, especially for the price. But yeah, man, don't let the world try to discourage you, you know, and don't let people tell you you need this fancy shit or whatnot. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, you know, this isn't impossible. I mean, don't get me wrong, it ain't fucking easy by any stretch of the imagination, but for fuck's sakes, man, like, I'm a millennial, right? And my generation, along with Gen Z and all the other generations that come after me, are stereotyped very heavily as not wanting to work. And I gotta be real with you, it's anything but the truth, at least in my area. Like, some of my generation is some of the hardest working people I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, yeah, there's some real fucking duds, but they're just really fucking stupid. Not claiming to be a genius, but like, holy fuck, some people like make me feel like a combination of fucking Stephen Hawking and Superman sometimes, by the way they work and how fucking stupid they are. That's coming from me, so that's how you know shit's bad. You know, I know this is an instructional, well, I don't want to have this come off as an instructional video. This is just a how I did it video, not a how-to. But if I could give you any bit of advice, is a man is always judged by his actions and his, you know, what he's done with his life. There is no refuge in your gender or your race or your religion or really any other niche demographic that you so happen to be part of. You are only what you make of yourself, and I had to learn that the hard way. And if you make yourself into a badass who can do just a little bit more work than the next guy, you're pretty well set. You see, that's the thing that, like, people these days don't really understand, is you don't really have to do all that much work. You just got to do a little bit better than the next guy, and you look so good by comparison. It's fucking crazy, but like that's just how shit works these days. And yeah, so that all being said, sorry, didn't mean to get philosophical there. It's just I don't know, something that's been weighing heavily on me for the last couple of years, and you know, I just wanted to give my 2 cents worth, actually $2. 2 cents doesn't really buy you fuck all no more, but yeah, so I dare say that is one well installed pressure plate. We can probably pull that out now. Oh, sorry, I think I punched you in the face there. So yeah, there's really not a whole lot in the way of us rocketing that Bruce Jenner right up into this cornhole here. But it's getting pretty late at night. So I think the best course of action is I'm going to clean up a little bit, take a shower because I am fucking greasy, and get some chow. And I'm going to hit the hay, and I'll probably come back tomorrow night and do a little bit more prep work before we get all ZF installed. And yeah, so bring it back. All right, kids, progress report, and a very important one at that. I have finally figured out the stupid OBS Ford electrical. Much of that was my fault, but we'll just get into that later. So, transmission wiring harness is complete. So, it's going to sit on there like that. That's our reverse connector right there, and right there is our 4-low range sensor, and I also got a zip tie thing. It sits right inside that deal right there, almost like the factory intended for you to do that. So that's all squared away. And more importantly, we got this figured out. Now, this here is your 8-pin E4OD, no, your MLPS connector. That guy right there is your E4OD connector. We do not care about that whatsoever. We care about this one. So what I did was I printed off, oh fuck, I can't grab nothing today. Oh shit, fuck. Okay. Sorry, I'm really excited because, okay. So, alright, so, let me slide this piece of paper off here. Fuck, shit. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, in our ZF harness, you can't see this worth of crap, but I'll put, you know, a diagram on screen if I can. So we have our ZF harness here, and we have some 4 wires that we actually care about. So we have our black and purple, and then our orange and purple. Okay, so that's these guys right there. That is for our reverse sensor. So black, purple, orange, purple. It's the exact same on the E4OD connector, or the MLPS connector, I should say. So that's good. And then we have straight blue, and then we have blue, black. I have green scribbled out because, well, before I took a fucking wet wipe and fucking clean the wires off, I thought it was green because wires are that fucking greasy. But so it's blue and blue black, and that that gives us our 4-low sensor. And so black and green and white is for the brick nose speedo sensor. We don't care about that. In fact, I completely trimmed that out of the brick nose harness. And then yeah, so we got part numbers right there.
This is rear wiring harness. We don't care about that right now. And then technically I don't care about that. Okay, so this is what we're fucking papers. Jesus Christ. Okay, Jesus fuck. Okay, this is what we actually care about right here. Again, focus is kind of shit, so I'm gonna put the thing on screen. So this is the connector for the MLPS on the transmission, and then this is the MLPS connector as we have it right over there. Now, I spent like a solid 2 or 3 fucking days trying to figure this shit out. So I have highlighted all the shit that we care about. So starting from the left hand side, top to bottom, we have our start/ignition, and then pin 2 we have backup lights, pin 3 is vehicle power, pin 4 starter relay, and then we go top right, which is pin 5, we have black ground. The next 2 pins, 6 and 7, we don't give a shit about. That's for like ECM and transmission sensor something. Don't give a shit. We have a manual, so no biggie. Now this one I kind of have a question about, the red-white 4x4 shift module. I don't even think that was used on the MLPS. I have no reason to assume it was, but that's there, because even on this harness we have a blue and a blue-white, I believe, that connects straight into, where the fuck did I have it? I don't know. It connects somewhere on the harness. And over here I have the brick nose 4-wheel drive / speedo harness that goes into your speedometer, that goes into your 4-wheel range sensor, and then that would go into that guy right there. But I recycled that, and this part number, whatever it is on screen, that's too long for me to show you, is that's what the fuck that is. Again, I'm excited, so I'm like borderline completely fucking incoherent. So when we look at this diagram, we have 2 pins that lock our starter out, and that pin is 1 and 4, which for some reason I have that drawn on there because it's reversed on the actual connector, even though on this diagram it shows that's what it is correctly. However, when I referenced my E4OD connector and put it in park, hang on, let me show you. So yeah, on your E4OD with your MLPS, you have park all the way back, and then you have reverse and neutral. And so flipping between neutral and park, both pins 1 and 4, at least as it's shown on the diagram, both had continuity. So that's what I did. So I fabbed up this little guy here. Don't worry about the number 3. And what I did was I bridged the pins that went from 1 to 4, at least as it's shown on here, which is red, white, and red, and light blue. It's supposed to show a light blue stripe on the red wire, but that's missing for some reason. So what I did was, when I bridged those 2 pins, I went to go start it, and nothing was happening, and I panicked, so I tried a bunch of different combinations. I even tried fucking bridging vehicle power to all 3 of these connectors, and nothing was fucking happening. But if you remember, when I was taking my torque converter bolts, or nuts rather, off, I had those 2 wires to the activator coil deal. That it was going up to the relay basically, so I could roll my starter over and get to those bolts. Well, I never actually put that back on, and so yeah, it wasn't cranking even when I had it properly bridged between pins 1 and 4. So yeah. And basically when I went to go charge my batteries, I went to go roll the engine over to make sure my flywheel and starter are both meshing, which they are. And I rediscovered that I fucking took off my activation wire. But so long story short, I spent 3 days like just absolutely funneling through every single forum on the fucking internet, only to discover that my own stupidity was the problem. So, with pins 1 and 4 unbridged, oh, I gotta get my fucking keys. We're gonna go ahead and, okay, so that's normally what happens. My wait to start light isn't coming on for some goddamn reason. I don't know why that is. So, you crank it over, nothing fucking happens. But when we bridge pins 1 and 4 with our fancy pants fucking connector there, go back in. We got crankage, ladies and gents. Okay, so that's pretty much where we're at right now. Electrically, I've got everything figured out. And pins 2 and 3 are what we use for our reverse sensor, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, when I bridged those, the backup lights still weren't working, so I think I've got some bad wiring going on back there. At least it ain't Dodge wiring, so this thing ain't gonna fucking light on fire, but still, something's faulty and it's not letting the backup lights flash on when the wiring harness says to do backup things. But anyway, yeah, that's fucking exciting. So I have a relay box. Well, this is a project box, but I got an actual quality Omron made in the USA relay that I am going to use to switch between reverse and neutral. It's going to think it's in neutral all the time when it's not in reverse. And I'll flash the wiring diagram up here, right now, with all the wire colors and everything else. And that should work. That should do all the things that I want it to do, and then I'm just gonna cobble fuck this wiring harness together and I'm gonna mount that up somewhere up underneath the frame or on a Crossmember or something. I don't know. One of those cross that bridge when I get there types of things. But yeah, I'm right fucking excited. Shit's working just how I want it to, and I think the move now is to put this bastard finally in its proper home. Oh yeah, first I probably better put the fucking clutch fork in the in the throwout bearing. That would probably help us out a lot. Now, one thing I do want to point out is I'm probably going to have to remove the shift tower. I would like to keep it because I want to have this thing in 4th gear and in 4 high so I can spin the yoke, and also that'll allow me to line up the splines inside of the clutch, so that way I can simply, you know, just put these guys together. I'm gonna have to take the 4-wheel drive shifter off. Obviously, that's gonna make that infinitely easier. Fucking dog, shut the fuck up, you fucking fuck you! But anyway, yeah, so I think it's high time. I'm gonna have to slide this thing. I'm gonna have to get it off the cart and slide it under there with a piece of masonite, but that's no big deal. Okay, progress report. We have the transmotion suspended in the air,
The way I'm doing this is got a couple of ratchet straps going on. I put a piece of mesa. Hey, you need to calm down, okay? You need to not do the thing that you just did while I'm under here, okay? That makes me, hey. Anyway, so I got 2 ratchet straps holding it up. Anyway, I slid a piece of masonite under here. Yeah, I did not slide this fucking transmission on the concrete floor. That would be one out of the least intelligent things of all the least intelligent things I've ever done. So, now most of you are going to say that this is incredibly unsafe and this is an idiotic idea, and you're absolutely correct. However, this is pretty much the only way that I could get this fucking filthy cocksucker up under here. And, well, for what I lack in safety, I'm going to make up for in droves by simply not giving a fuck. So, I'm going to get this fucking, tranny jack fucking dialed up under here. I'm going to get this cocksucker put up into place. Hopefully, ideally. Guess we'll find out. Ah, fuck, I'm eating my own hair. Fuck's sakes. Alright, kids. Progress report. We done it. It was not easy and it was not quick, but we done did her. So what I ended up having to do was, well, you probably saw me doing it. Well, in fact, you definitely saw me do it. So I had to ratchet strap it up front and rear, get the tranny jack up under here, and well, that wasn't that probably was not the best option, but that was the option that I had because, well, I don't exactly have a fucking 2-post vehicle lift. So ideally, I probably should have put this thing up on jack stands, at least the front end. That would have made this whole operation a hell of a lot easier, especially having that tranny jack up under here, which having that jack was definitely a wise decision. It was definitely a good buy. I definitely recommend getting that jack. So another thing is when you're installing this thing, I have it in 4th gear and also in 4-wheel drive, which, by the way, I better shift that. Yeah, shift that back into 2-wheel mode there. So so that what the reason I did that is having it in 4th gear is a 1-to-1 from input to output, and having it in 4-wheel allows me to spin the front output yoke, and that will spin the input shaft. And the reason we want to do that is we want to align the splines on the input shaft to the splines on the clutch itself. And if I was smarter, I probably would have cut down some bolts that thread up into the adapter plate, because getting this thing aligned and installed was an absolute fucking nightmare. I had to do a lot of fancy footwork with that jack and this Daytona floor jack to get this thing to line up properly. And also there's a seam right there that connects the floor pan to the firewall. And that seam I had to beat like a red-headed stepchild with a 4-pound sledge to get that out of the way, because the top of the transmission was brushing up against it and wasn't allowing me to stick the input shaft in the hole. Stick the shaft in the hole. So that was definitely an adventure. One option you probably maybe could do is take a bottle jack and push on the, oh fuck, what's it called, the harmonic balancer with a wood block, and sort of make the engine do this number. That would probably make it a lot fucking easier to shove up into there, and you probably wouldn't have to beat the ever-living piss out of your floor pan seam. But Well, that's just how I did it, and that's how I got it installed. So, I apologize I didn't show that. That was, I assure you, installation was about as boring as you could imagine. The only redeeming value that showing you that would have had was comedic value. Whole bunch of swearing and such, as usual, per my content, if you want to call it that. So I think the next order of operations now is getting all my linkages installed. Let's see, I gotta get the breather hose put on. Probably make a new breather hose. So connect the four-wheel drive sensor, the red connector there, which is your reverse sensor. The slave cylinder for the clutch will come later. And then, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start on the interior at this point, or at least after I do that. I don't think I should have to show you how to install the cross members. One thing I did want to point out, hang on, let me... Alright, this is going to be complete and total ass, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about here. So this spot in the frame that's not completely rusted the fuck away, you see the two bolt holes for the, oh fuck, what's it called? The crossmember gusset that goes up and connects up to here. You have your two bolts there, and then a little bit further up you have another two bolts. This is for your manual crossmember, and we're going to be using those. But I don't know if you can see this or not, but we have a little bit of a clearance issue between the floor pan and the bolt hole here. So I think what I'm going to do is either buy new bolts, you know, I'm just going to get new bolts that'll have just enough threads that'll go completely through the nut, and thread the bolt into the nut going this way, because they had them going down this way, which is why you see a little bit of grinder apprentice marks right there, because I had to grind this bolt off to get it out, because it had just enough, well, it had just enough knot clearance, or whatever the fuck you say, to where I couldn't just pull the bolt out. I don't know, I'm guessing they installed the fucking cross member before the body, because otherwise you would have to jack the body up, which you would have to unplug a whole bunch of stupid shit. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it, but that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the bolts going up through this way instead of pointing down this way. I'm going to have the nuts on the top of the frame right here. So that's the way I'm going to do that. And it's like that on the other side as well. And yeah, again, I probably won't show you that. I don't think I should have to. At this point, you should probably know how to uninstall cross members. But in case you're wondering what these two holes are in front of these two, that's for your gussets on the manual transmission cross member. So I'm gonna get those installed. Oh yeah, and before I forget, I should probably remove the automatic shift cable. There's, oh fucking shit. Okay, there's this little grommet that goes in the floor pan that's right there. I'm gonna fill that full of seam sealer, just so that doesn't allow mice and other bullshit to get up into the cab. And once I get into the interior, well, I guess I'll bring it back when that happens. Well, today's tomorrow. I think I forgot. Transmission inspection cover.
The dump provides yet again. So if you're looking for an inspection cover, E9TA-6A37 or 373-AA. Yeah. And when I was putting the transmission in, I didn't put this thing in. I don't really think it's necessary, but I'm just going to stick it like right underneath the dust cover there. And then the whole underside's pretty much buttoned up. Alright, well, I think it's time we move on to the interior. So there's really not a whole lot I can tell you about, I don't know, interior disassembly that you really couldn't find in another video. I mean, I'll do a fucking do a time lapse just so you know, can fill in the gaps between now and then. I am gonna have to vacuum that floor. Years of being a country truck or a gravel road driving truck, at least. So it's taking its toll. A lot of dust and random bullshit in here. Found a couple of really cool things in here. Found a couple 22 shells. That was pretty mint. So the guy who owned this before me was pretty fucking based. But I'm gonna remove the entire steering column, the gauge cluster, because I got to put the blanking panel in, and that stupid brake controller. I don't even know if it works. I don't really give a shit. Constantly hitting my fucking knees on it anyway. And then gotta remove the brake pedal bracket and figure out what I'm gonna do clutch wise. I know there's a panel, little rubber panel that goes into the firewall. I gotta remove for that. Oh, scrape the sealant off of the doghouse around there. Remove the shift tower because I got to get fluid in it somehow, and I can take it out of gear because, well, I don't need it in fourth anymore. He's pretty well properly set up in there. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to, if you're doing this, you definitely want to unhook your batteries. Good idea. You don't want power running all your shit while you're doing this. And the whole time I got a carpet pulled up, got a moving blanket from the hazard fart covering my seats, and that's pretty much how I'm doing this whole operation. So get you set up and let's get this done. I don't want to take up too much time here.
So let's go ahead and remove the shift tower. 5mm Allen. I think they want you to do this by with an Allen key, but yeah, that's just not fucking realistic here. So let's go ahead and buzz these cunts off. Yeah, I couldn't imagine having to do that with a fucking Allen wrench. Holy shit. Alright. Theoretically, we should just be able to pull this thing off of here. Yeah. Alright, there we go. If you're going to change your shifter bushings, now would be the good, or a good time to do it. There's one there and there's one there. These look good, so we're going to keep them. Now, the gasket that came with the shift tower stuck to the actual shifter ball dealio itself, so if that stuck to here, now would be the time to remove that. We don't need to worry about any of that stupid shit. So we're just going to get all the dirt off that we can. Now what we're going to do, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of masking tape, cover the shift tower up with that. The reason it being, I'm going to install the doghouse on top of this, and so I don't want any debris getting down inside the old tranny. A lot of people get offended when you call it a tranny. I really don't give a fuck. I've been calling it one thing my whole entire life. I don't expect to call it anything different now just because of a bunch of fucking sexual deviants. Anyway, so that's covered up now. I'm gonna go ahead and get some fucking, well, let me just show you. So yeah, I'm gonna get some seam sealer, and I'm gonna lay it down inside each one of these seams here, sort of rolled down on a bead roller. At least I think that's how they do it. So that's going to be probably really difficult and possibly even disastrous, because I gotta pull up this fucking goddamn carpet to get down into that. I might not even bother putting any back there, or better yet, I might actually apply it to the cover itself. That'll probably be a much better idea. And I already cleaned this up in here as good as I feel like getting it for the time being. So yeah, it's just gonna have to work. So yeah, we are so fucking back, boys. Oh yeah, no more fucking shitty carpet hanging off the fucking seat. So as you can see, we've made a little bit better progress. Doghouse installed. Carpet, well, actually vinyl, but I like to think I'm fancy, so we call it carpet. It's mostly half-ass installed, and there's a little piece of trim over there that I'm just not gonna fucking give a fuck about. To my knowledge, everything kind of sort of half-ass looks okay, so I'm going to call that a win. I'll vac that out, that's kind of greasy. But yeah, four-wheel drive shifter is on tap next, and then I do believe we're gonna start construction on getting the fucking hole cut out over the old trans tunnel so we can get our shifter boot thrown in there. I apologize that I'm not doing a lot of this on camera. It's just a whole bunch of really stupid, tedious bullshit. Yeah, so like basically all the hard work is done now. Now it's just putting screws back in. Yeah, I gotta take the pedal bracket off and then put the new one back on, which by the way is right there. Use my truck as a dumpster because, well, I gotta
make space in here somehow. But yeah, right fucking excited. We're probably like 75% of the way done on this whole fucking ordeal, so I'm getting right fucking excited. Alright, well, we're inching closer and closer every single time, so gonna go ahead and take this off and pour in our tranny fluid. And the reason we're gonna fill it from the top here and from the side is A, it's way fucking easier, and B, we can overfill the transmission. The reason we want to do this is because we switched over to a single mass flywheel. There's this thing called gear rollover, and I really don't know how else to describe it other than that it makes this really weird rattly sound. And also overfilling it is going to quiet down the gear whine ever so slightly. So we're gonna put in 4 quarts. I think the Ford spec is 3 point something. Basically you fill it up until the fucking line is full. But we're going to be filling it way over full, so we don't need to fucking worry about that. And I'm going to be filling it up with this. This is AMSOIL Signature Series. Checks all the boxes for Mercon compatibility and all that shit. To be honest, I got it because somebody said, like, this is the best you can get. Honestly, I think AMSOIL is a fucking cult. I can't definitively prove that, but like, holy shit, some of their like proponents are just absolutely insufferable. So, whoopsie. Let that sit there for a few seconds. And there's really not much else to watch here. I'm going to be doing this 4 more times. Yeah, but getting back to AMSOIL, I don't know what the fuck is up with, like, it's like you hear people saying one of 2 things. It's either really, really good, it's the best stuff on the planet, you're not going to get anything better than this, or it's quite literally a cult-like following, and I'm more of the second disposition, because holy shit. Like, fucking, I was putting, AMSOIL Marine 1540 in this 7.3 for the longest time. I think I did like 3 consecutive oil changes with that shit. And I gotta be honest, I really don't notice a big fucking difference, at least with cold start performance. Like they said they did. I switched back to using Rotella T4, which is Shell, and that works perfectly fucking good. I don't know, like, I really don't think there's any secret sauce to AMSOIL, because honestly, you really should be changing out these fluids routinely. And because you're changing out these fluids routinely, I don't see why you have to spend like fucking $50 for a gallon of fucking 1540. It just makes no fucking sense to me. So I switched back to using fuck, what was it? I just said it. Rotella T4, switched back to using that. Again, haven't noticed a difference, but I don't know, one of those your mileage may vary types of things. So, ended up putting, what was it, 4.5 quarts of ATF in there. Which, because it's AMSOIL, that's probably like fucking $400 worth of fucking fluid, so whoop-dee. Now, I think the next move is installing the shifter and the shifter boot. Ladies and gentlemen, behold, feast your eyes.
a factory new shifter boot, complete with the rubber insulator and the screws. And if you need a part number on that, just in case, that's what it is. So, factory original Ford parts. I'm gonna take a punch, or at least a oh, what the fuck's it called, an ice pick, and jam it down in between where the fucking holes need to line up, and then we'll get this cunt installed. I have no idea why all the little things always have to turn into such fucking catastrophic bullshit of epic proportions. It seems that, like, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, there's always something that fucks me over. And I don't know, at this point I feel like it's just not worth it anymore. This project just isn't fucking working out. And well, I think I finally reached that point, and no, I'm just fucking with you. We're there, boys. We fucking got them. Yeah. Oh, you like that big letter R? That means race mode, boys. Woo, we're doing it for Dale, motherfucker. Oh, holy shit. Yeah. Not to say that that wasn't a struggle, but man, sometimes you just it takes that little extra bit to make you realize that, you know, sometimes it's worth it. Don't worry, girl. We're getting you back on the road soon. Not because, well, not just because I want to, but because I kind of have to. I kind of, sort of need this truck. Like, really bad. Fuck, this thing shifts good. I was going to change out the shifter bushings, but I mean, there's a little bit of play. It's not a fucking race car shifter by any stretch. But for a fucking reman ZF out of a fucking 89, man, this thing feels fucking cherry. Yeah. I cannot fucking wait for this thing to finally be back on the road. I don't know what it is, but man, clutch, brake, and like, I can already feel it. Just, fuck, man. Anyway, I'm gonna stop being excited. I got a lot of fucking mess to clean up, and I am one greasy, sweaty boy. Actually, I better not say that on the internet, because there's a lot of weird fucking dudes. Probably jerk off thinking about that. You know, I didn't know this. I didn't know this till like a fucking month ago. There's like a legit mechanic fetish. I know it's like not very common, but like that's a real thing, and the fact that that's a real thing is kind of disconcerting. But anyway, that's not really anything that I'm doing here, at least not by a lot. But fuck, this feels good. You have no idea how good this feels. Maybe you do. Maybe if you complete a project similar to this, maybe you'll know the feel. Oh my god, that fucking dust vent is dusty. Fuck, holy shit. But yeah, I think the next course of action is steering column and gauges, with a couple little intricate details between the auto and manual columns and such, and I'll go over that. But right now I'm tired and I'm gonna fucking go inside, and you can go fuck yourself until then. Alright, children, this time we had a little talk about pedal brackets. So we remove this one and we're gonna install this one. Now I know the differences aren't immediately obvious, but there's a couple of things we're talking about. Number one, in order to get your brake pedal off that there shaft there, you got to remove this here spring retainer deal. It's basically a cotter pin. So you take a pair of pliers and you bite on it just like that, and just wiggle it back and forth and give her a yank and she'll come out. And then you pop off your what the Ford manual calls the stoplight sensor. So it sits on the master cylinder shaft dealio, kind of like that. It's where this is pointing up. Part number that you're not going to be able to see because GoPros can't focus worth a shit. And also make sure you keep this bushing, because that's gonna hopefully maybe, yep, that fits on there. So that's gonna keep the old friction from doing things. Now, obviously this is where it bolts up to your master cylinder, and it's same exact bolt pattern size and what with all, but we have an extra pedal. Brake pedal on the auto is obviously quite a bit more substantial than it is on the manual. Top bolts, which go into the top of that main support in the dash, is wider on the manual pedal bracket, and also on the autos you have, this is where your master clutch cylinder will mount, and you have studs pressed into that stamping there. I already took the liberty of threading the those nuts back on there, and so that's how that's gonna go. And I'm already doing the Haim joint mod. So if you Google, or if you go on Amazon and look up OBS Ford Haim joint clutch pedal mod, it'll pop up. There's like a million of these things, and they're all made exactly the same, but basically mounts up there just like that. And I think I'm gonna cut it off. I like the clutch and master cylinder that I got here came with the clutch rod uninstalled, and it's got the bushing in there. But the problem with this bushing is it's really anemic, and over time it just wears out, and then the eye of the clutch rod ends up wearing out itself, and this is supposed to mitigate that. The problem is you got to cut this off at a certain point. I don't know what that certain point is. I kind of just guesstimated, so I'm going to cut it off right there where I have it marked with the Sharpie, and then I'm going to try to fit it out because there are these flat spots ground into it, and then we have this set screw that I hope to index onto that, because it's made to fit onto this shoulder going all the way back here. It's a lot skinnier up there. And if you do decide to buy a brand new pedal bracket, oh yeah, Motorcraft part number. I think it's over here. Where the fuck is it? Now, whatever. So, right there is the Motorcraft part number, made in Canada. I just decided to buy a whole new bracket. It was like $100-something bucks. So, brand new factory OEM parts, and it doesn't come with the clutch arm. I don't even know what the fuck you call this. So there's a spline section right there on that shaft that's supposed to, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to insert your clutch master rod right there, and then install this, and then put it onto there, or like one of those things, whatever basically works, because this is already the whole pedal bracket's going to be installed anyway. But you're going to do this in some order. I don't exactly know what it is, and then that bolts on like that. And basically what you're doing is you're pressing that arm onto those splines, so it just you know, indexes and maintains that index as long as you have
that joint, and this joint's supposed to be one of those forever mods. I don't know why they didn't do it from the factory like this. I don't know why Ford had to do that stupid shit with all the fucking plastic bushings. Like, this isn't even a high quality plastic. This is like ABS.
It's cheaper.
But I digress. That's a thing. Oh, yeah. These two bolt holes and these two bolt holes. One moment. So, for reference, there's your skinny pedal and there's your steering shaft. And, oh, this is going to be a disaster. So, right here and right there is where the automatic pedal bracket bolts to. And then you have this hole over here. So, once again, Ford being like Legos. So we're going to be using that hole and that hole for the pedal bracket. And then right there, fuck. Yeah, the lighting situation ain't that great. So we have that and that. And then we currently have that blanking panel that we're going to knock out. And this stupid fucking wire that I still have absolutely no idea what the fuck that goes to. But we're going to do a delete on that. I mean, it's just fucking dangling there. Like, what the fuck does that do? Like, why? I don't know. Anyway. And then you have your 4 bolts to your brake booster / master, etc., etc. Should be abundantly obvious right now what that, or by this point, what that does. So, I'm going to get all that installated, and I'll bring you back once we have that, well, installated. Alright, clutch test. Clutch in. Clutch out. Clutch in. Clutch out. Clutch in. Clutch out. Alright. Did you record all that? Hope you did. Update. We got 3 pedals. Now the clutch pedal is just a little bit aft of the brake pedal. I don't know. Not sure about the feel of it either, because we go in and it disengages fine. I don't think it's supposed to do that. I don't know. It feels a little slow. And I don't know about that last little bit of take up. But we're going to roll with it right now. I mean, I can adjust it later on. It's going to be a pain in the dick, but I mean, because last I know, like your brake and your clutch are at least supposed to be pretty close, but maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm a retard. Well, I'm definitely a retard, but like, anyway, well, I think that's pretty well it for that. Yeah, the brake pedal works just fine. Everything pretty well bolted up as well as I expected it to. Getting the holes lined up for the brake master is a little bit of a pain in the ass, but I made it happen. Oh, and routing for the clutch master. Ooh, look at that Fleet Farm bag. Routing for the clutch master was kind of a bastard. I don't know if this is the way that they intended it to do it. I don't know. And I put the that little heat shield over top of that part of the hose because it's getting dangerously close to the exhaust manifold, and it's also brushing right up against the firewall. I think there's another part that's also brushing up against the firewall, but I'm going to do the right thing and just not give a fuck right now until it becomes an actual problem. But one step closer. Well, multiple steps closer. Alright, so we did in fact do the Haim joint mod. Went pretty painlessly. Oh, I forgot to put that insulator in. Oh well, fucking way she goes. When you're saw in this, I don't know, normally it plugs onto the, on the clutch rod, just like that. But what I found was, you just grind off the back of that lever where this is stamped on. You just grind it off where it's kind of riveted, basically. Just, oh, burp, where it's mushed into place. And you grind off the very back of it, and then you drive it out with a punch. And it becomes the perfect size for the machine screw, or the bolt, or whatever the fuck. What the fuck's it called? It's got a hex head. If I was any other place and any other state of mind right now other than completely shit-faced, I could probably tell you what the fucking, like, the name of that bolt is. But anyway, yeah, it's basically the perfect size for this, which is, I want to say it's a little over 3/8, but some metric fucking faggot communist bullshit. And it ended up working out just fine. No complaints there. Again, the clutch pedal feels a little bit mushy. I might have to add fluid, might have to adjust it. I'm going to cross that bridge when I get there, because I don't actually know if the clutch is functioning fine until I, God, I got a whole bunch of fucking dirt on me. Not wearing the coveralls tonight. But, yeah, I'm not going to know until I, test her out. Oh, that reminds me. We have shit to cross off the list. Alright, well, here's the fucking shit list. What do we get done? We got, let's see, Master Slave. Cross that off. Filled the 41% suicide rate with ATF. Transfer case, did not get that filled. We're gonna have to do that when I get the drive shaft put in. I still gotta call the shop. Skid plate, nope. Electrical, nope, none of that. Let's see, more transmission shit. Shift tower, yep. Dust cover, yep. Steering column, not yet. Doghouse and shifter, yes. Back floor, kind of half-assed. We'll say we did it just to feel accomplished. Blanking panel, that's coming up next. Pedal bracket, Haim joint mod. Alright, well, we're making progress. Not nearly as, oh yeah, that's all fucking engine shit that I'm probably not going to do right now. But, so that's going to be done, and that's going to be done in short order. So all the interior shit's going to basically be done real fucking soon. And then we got all the electrical. That shouldn't take too fucking long, because I already have a really good idea of what's going on. I just need to, the real time waster behind the electrical is going to be building it all up into a fucking harness, and, you know, trying to figure out, like, which wires to terminate. Drive shaft, that's coming later. Skid plate for the transfer case. I can't do that until I install the front shaft, fill that up. Can't do that until I install the rear drive shaft. So yeah, basically all that's, other than electrical and the steering column, like, all that's waiting on right now is the fucking drive shafts. So, yeah, that's pretty much out of my control at the moment, and bring it back once, I know what I need to do. I need to install the blanking panel inside the gauge cluster. That's something I need to do. And then we can do the steering column. Again, I'll do that just a little bit later, but yeah, right now I'm feeling pretty fucking accomplished. That's pretty fucking mint. Yeah. It's definitely got Loctite on it. I'll be using a harmonic balancer puller. Just a two-sided section of it.
These bolts are 5/16. Right, 5/16. Yeah, 5/16, 18. So, back this off. You got two threaded holes. We're going to use those two. Plus, you got to get the proper piece that fits in there without pressing onto your shoulder of that. Get the old fucking Jones County metric. There we go. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, that ain't good. Oh, no. Oh, shit. Oh, that ain't good at all. Oh, no. Stand by. Okay, that was not very intelligent. I did not have that threaded in all the way. Let's go ahead and try that second time. I mean, I had it fucking popped off of there. Just, yeah. That was not very intelligent. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay. Should be her. Yeah, there we are. Well, the good thing is, I don't think we permanently harmed anything. The top, right there about, pulled a couple of threads out, but that was my fault. Fucking bites. God damn it. Alright, welcome to the safe room, aka the electrotronics workbench. Today's mission, we need to replace that and get rid of that, and we're going to install a blanking panel, which curiously I have right here, and we're going to get this dash back up in the truck ASAP. Alright, so hopefully you can see what I'm talking about here. Here's our blanking panel. A little bit of a matte finish on that part right there. And so you take out these two screws right there. I'm using a 5.5mm, but you know, whatever. So this is what I'm talking about here. So this is sort of your gear shift indicator deal. And what happens is this little loop here is hooked onto some sort of a titty end on your shifter column, and when it pulls, yeah, you see what's going on right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that, and then this is going to get put in its place, and that way it's going to look stock. And obviously you don't have to do this if you're doing a 5-speed conversion. It just makes it look a little bit more factory. Another thing I kind of want to do is these face placards right here are kind of shifting around a little bit, and when I've already done this where I've cleaned it out before, but every now and again it just does that, and it's supposed to not do that. So yeah, so this needs to, there are these locating holes right down in here where the way that's supposed to line up. Yeah, like what was happening was every now and again, like my voltage would show like 10, and that's bad. But like whenever you wail on the dash or a little bit, it would just move around fucking all over the place, and it wasn't happening with the oil pressure and the temp gauge. It was just happening with this one. I'm still gonna do it to that, but yeah, I'm gonna put a piece of Captain tape which is, oh, I got so much shit in this room. That's this stuff right here. You see it in electronics a lot, and very thin tape. It's also very sticky, but I'm gonna put it right over top of these part numbers right here and make it stick to the backing, such and so forth. And I'm not very good with words tonight, so apologize for that, but you know, it's the way she goes. Really good time to make sure that all of your bulbs are functioning correctly. This is what, you know, indicates all of your brake, four-wheel drive, etc., basically all of your idiot lights. But anyway, get this taken out and this put in. Alright, well, that's pretty much a wrap on that. This thing looks really fucking dusty on camera. Doesn't look that bad in real life, but yeah, if you want to remove, you know, all those screws to pop this clear bezel out, that is an opportune moment to do that, or optimal time, or what the fuck ever. A lot of times dust will get behind your PSOM selector knobs there, and it'll, you know, cake up the faces of your gauges there, and it'll get all over the back of the plexiglass there, and it'll just completely look like shit. I will say, if you do, you know, go through with this, get a microfiber towel after you know, get some Windex and clean all this shit off. Get a microfiber towel and some plastic polish, and just lightly, you know, go over all this. It'll absolutely make this entire panel just pop. It'll look really nice and good. Like, you don't want to be too aggressive with it, because you'll just you'll end up doing more harm than good. You know, it's one of those less is more types of things. But yeah, that's our completed gauge cluster. So I'm going to go ahead and install that back into the dash. And I want to move on to the steering column. Steering column time. You'll never guess which one is the automatic and which one is the manual column. Okay, I'm fucking with you a little bit. So there are a couple of differences between the auto and the manual column, but as far as like the underlying infrastructure, everything is pretty much all the same. So with the auto column, you have this mechanism right there that rotates and locks into those detents when you shift it down, and you notice that you have these clamps with the bushings on them, and that's all the same over here. This these two columns are, as far as I can tell, completely identical, and you can swap over parts from either one of these completely, you know, freely, as far as I can tell. And of course, that's that little titty nipple dealio that hooks onto the shift indicator. And then on the manual column, you have this guy right here, which locks out your ignition, etc. One thing that is different, especially on the rear of these, is on the auto. This you have this piece of steel that comes up and has that that square notch in it, and that is for your that holds your what's it called, your shift cable somewhere or other in place. That's pretty much the only difference back there, other than obviously this is where your
ball and socket would go for your linkage. Let's see, I don't really think there's anything fundamentally different. Both of these are tilt column, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm a little bit taller than the average bear, so having a tilt column is actually pretty useful. One thing that is different is I have this on the manual column, and it has an extra 3-pin. I don't know which one's extra and which one's not. I really can't tell, because on my column you have these 3 copper spring-loaded plungers that interact with that right there, and those oh, no, there it is. You know, that works with your cruise, and of course those plug into that guy right there. And I want to reuse the steering wheel. I don't know what the fuck this is for. My best guess is this came off of like a half-ton with an airbag. I'm really not familiar with that because, well, trucks with safety features is for faggots. And having safety features in any vehicle is a feminine trait. We die like men. No, I'm just fucking with you, but yeah, I'm thinking that's what that's for. And again, this will bolt into that there, and obviously the wiring is just a little bit different. It's different enough. Here you have a 4-pin connector that has 4 leads running into that, and this one you have the same type of connector, but you also have this one right here. And again, these will simply undo, and you can swap the wiring that goes to your steering wheel. It's just pretty much, yeah, it's really fucking easy is what I'm trying to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this wiring moved over here, and I'm just going to half-ass chuck that onto here and put it on eBay for however fucking much shitty used automatic steering column goes for. Additionally, I also figured out that a Ford ignition cylinder out of an 08 Power Stroke will fit. Now, it's hard to do this with one hand. Now, there we go. Yeah, Ford key, because my ignition key right now that was in the old cylinder here is an Ilco key, which is I never got a an actual factory Ford ignition key with this truck when I got it, so I wanted to have a Ford key to go with this, and of course this is brand new. If you're wondering what ignition tumbler switch deal I'm using, SW-6678. They had this listed as it's like compatible only with 0809 Super Duty trucks, but this, as far as I can tell, this works perfectly fine. And even if it doesn't work, then, you know, they can just, I guess, put it back up on Fleabay for however much I paid for it, and now you just install the old cylinder and run that. I really don't want to. I have no reason to believe that this won't work electrically, and pretty much dimensionally it's exactly the same. It doesn't impede function at all. Of course, this right here and that right there, that's held in by your cylinder. Yeah, that's gonna, it all depends on how well it interacts with that, but again, I really don't have any reason to believe it's not gonna work. Only way to know that is to try it out. Like, that's accessory, that's off, whoop, on,
and start. Like everything works. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, let me get that all swapped over and installated. By the time we come back, I'll have the column hopefully installed and ready to go. Alright, new learning. The sons of bitches, they did it. They did it again. Anyway, okay, so Motorcraft F2 DC 11572-AA, F4 DC, and all those letters and numbers. These are two completely different things, yeah. So on the automatic column, this dowel, or this nut insert right here, is smaller than what came off the column that I bought. It's or it's not completely different. I imagine, like, the pinout is exactly the same on everything. But the cocksuckers, they made it fucking different. Ford, why do you do this shit, man? Fuck's sakes. Anyway, I was trying to jam the connector for this onto this, and it wasn't fucking working. I'm guessing it has to do with airbag shit, blah, blah, blah. Or different engine configuration. Whatever, we're gonna run with it. We're gonna swap this connector deal into the manual column, just like we did with the wiring harness. Okay, now back to whatever I was doing. Guess what? Rhetorical question. The answer is always chicken butt. Yep, we're fucking done in here, boys. Oh, and I actually figured out, like some of you who are in the know may have noticed that the clutch pedal was a little bit slow on the reload, but so my dumb ass kinked up the fucking line as it goes into the slave cylinder. I don't know how the fuck I ended up doing that, but I did. And I got rid of that kink, and now she's free balling. So yeah, that fucking Haim joint mod was worth its weight in gold. So hopefully I don't have to do a whole lot of adjustamenting on this clutch. I kind of don't want to have to fuck with that, but I won't know that until this thing's back up and running and under its own power. But fuck yeah, bitches. Got that dash cluster cleaned up. We got this. We got the fucking key. Oh, gotta push that to fucking turn it off. Yep, that works. So I have to plug the batteries back in. Well, not power to this cocksucker. We got the fucking 5-speed. So yeah, I think the next course of action is to go back up under there and get the electrotronics up and fired, dead, and fucking, man, the fucking talking today is just an absolute exercise in fucking futility, let me tell you. But yeah, this is now probably roughly 90% complete. Let's see, the wiring down there, and then the drive lines, and that's fucking it. We're ready to test drive this fucking pig. Now obviously we got some engine stuff I want to take care of, but that's beyond the scope of this video. I really don't give a shit. So yep, for you, doing the electrical is going to be instantaneous. For me, it's probably going to be at least a couple of days. So I'm going to have to dress up in coveralls and that, and I'm fucking tired, and I'm fucking, I just don't feel like doing any bullshit today, so, woo! I just can't stop fucking looking at that shit, man. This is just gonna be a fucking treat deluxe. Well, I am just discovering more and more things every single day that I work on this beast. So, it turns out that all this shit that I bought for, like, you know, wiring and all the other stuff is, it was basically useless. And I spent a whole shitload of time waiting on that Omron relay in that project box. And ultimately, I'm probably just going to end up not needing it. So, in my never-ending quest to find out why the fuck my reverse lights were not working, I decided to bridge that one last time in a seemingly hopeless attempt to, you know, diagnose what the fuck was going on. So I bridged those two pins. When we crank on power, ta-da! The other one working too. I didn't even check the other one. Oh yeah, it's fucking going. Oh yeah. We got reverse lights. So, not only, let's see, that should shut him off. Oh yeah. So, we officially have all the electrical shit completely figured out. So, that's good. So what I ended up doing was pulling the MLPS straight off of the transmission, the old E4OD, and dissecting it and trying to figure out exactly what the fuck is going on. And so what I came up with is that, well, it's basically exactly no different from what we see on here. So pins 1 and 4 are bridged in both park and neutral. We already knew that. And pins 2 and 3 are bridged for our reverse lights. This is one of those things I was getting really hung up on because I didn't know whether pin 2, which is backup lights, I didn't know if that was bridging from vehicle power, starter relays, the switch. Maybe it was bridged to ground for some reason. I don't know. Any of those things could have been a thing. But then I pinned out all of this stupid fucking bullshit. And I figured out that this diagram is in fact 100% correct. Aside from being switched, you know, horizontally or vertically on that diagram. But reverse, for whatever reason, was not working on this. I actually don't know what it is. I think there's a little bit of shmoo on that, because what it does is, oh Jesus, this is a disaster, I apologize. So when you shift the transmission and it rotates that shaft on the MLPS, it also spins this. Now there are these copper contactors along with these. These are completely irrelevant. We literally do not give a fuck about any of this up here, any of these traces, any of these contact pads. We care about actually these right here, these pads molded into the plastic, and you can see vaguely some traces going to each and every one of these contacts. And that's how I found out that this was a complete fucking pile of shit. I mean, it doesn't help that there's a whole fuckload of corrosion going on inside there, but yeah, so I got that all figured out. And then what I figured out is that all of the wiring that I had planned to do, again with that project box and the relay, is basically going to be completely fucking useless. So here was my rationale. I wanted to have that relay to switch between
This is assuming you can read an electrical diagram. Not everybody can. I was assuming that the reverse lights were bridged to either vehicle power or to the starter relay coil. To the starter relay coil or the start terminal ignition switch, blah 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 blah. No, it bridges to vehicle power, and thus it goes into two separate pins. And on the relay, I was thinking that in the normally closed position, it would bridge the pins 1 and 4, which is for the starter. And then when I throw it into reverse, which will give us, obviously, it'll bridge that switch in the transmission. I was going to have vehicle power and ground going to the activation coil on that relay. So what that would do is it would flip it into the normally open position. It would now be closed. And so vehicle power or whatever the fuck I was going to run to the middle pole would be going to contacting it in reverse. I hope I'm making sense. Diagram. That's what I had in my mind. But what I didn't realize is that the wires on the OBS harness for reverse are literally exactly the same as it is on the harness for the brick nose. For reverse, that is. For the four-wheel drive sensor, it's slightly different, but it's not different enough that I don't know what the fuck's going on. Obviously, this connector right there coming off the MLPS harness, that's our four-wheel drive indicator switch. It's actually 4-low, but that's just what they have it. So here's what I now have in mind. We are going to use this entire side of the harness, or this MLPS connector. This whole side of the harness, as we're looking at it, is completely fucking irrelevant to us. We don't need ground. We don't need the 46-pin EEC, transmission range sensor. That's completely fucking irrelevant. And the 4x4 shift module, I still don't know what that is. I have a sneaking suspicion it might have something to do with the half-ton electronic shift transfer cases. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, this wire doesn't even fucking go to anything, either on the harness or to this. So again, that's irrelevant. So in light of that, in light of the fact that we're not going to need the relay or the project box, aka the E4OD confuculator, we're only using 4 pins out of the harness, plus the 2 extra wires that we need to run to our range sensor, for low range sensor. What I'm thinking is one of 2 things. And obviously you're not here to make this choice for me, but I'm thinking one of 2 things. Either A, I leave the MLPS harness and all of its wires completely connected. I am going to shorten the harness, obviously, because this is like, you see where the sleeving terminates right there? Yeah, that's where I need this harness to end. So I have like almost 3 foot worth of wire to trim off. Again, I hate butchering a factory Ford wiring harness, but like again, I could not find an IDI manual 4-wheel drive wiring harness and PCM, so that's whatever. So I am going to shorten the MLPS. All the wires going to the E4OD connector we do not need. So if you need a half-fucked E4OD connector, I kind of busted a little bit of the connector off. Wiring's perfectly good. I mean, you got like 2.5 foot worth of fucking wiring right there. You want a fucking E4OD connector, you hit me up. And then, oh, come on now. Yeah, so I segregated all the wiring going to that, and I'm going to cap off all of this and trim them off. That's gonna have to happen underneath the truck, unfortunately. That's just the way she goes, and I'm gonna cap it off and heat shrink it, make sure it's all sealed up, and I'm gonna wrap the sleeving around that, make it look all nice and clean and aesthetic and sick and dope and all this other shit. So we're going to need this, and we're going to need dirt, yep, this side of the connector. All of this is irrelevant to us. So I think what I'm going to do is use, I don't know, these 2 pins on that side of the harness and connect the 4 low sensor to this. We're not going to be using those, so those are irrelevant to us. But when I shorten this, I'm gonna, yeah, again, this whole side, I'm gonna connect it to the wires that it's supposed to, and then these 2 wires, I'm gonna connect it up to the sensor, range sensor, 4 low, fucking, man, words are fucking hard, man. You get what the fuck I'm talking about. And on the ZF side of the harness, like, I already got this all pretty much planned on how I'm going to do it. When I'm thinking about, oh, hey, easy, baby, hey. I kind of need that. On the ZF side of the harness, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is trim somewhere in here and utilize this connector, and then heat shrink and also electrical tape the ever living fuck out of this. So I have a disconnect. I'll go across the cross member for the transmission, so if I ever need to remove it, I don't have to unplug. Oh, you know what? It would just be easier for me to shorten the harness and just wire those 2 together. I don't want to do that though, because I'm going to have a lot of fucking wires to terminate. Let me have a drink and I'm going to think about that. Yeah, because that was the second option, was either to reuse the E4OD connector and the connector off the MLPS and cobble fuck it all together to look somewhat factory-ish. Or option number 2 was I just fucking connect the wires all together and call it good. But the problem is I would have to solder all these wires together underneath the truck, and it's like, well, I'm going to have to get up underneath the truck anyway to shorten the ZF harness. Anyway, man, I am thinking way too much about this shit. Man, I am fucking stupid. Anyway, I'll bring you back whenever I come up with whatever I decide to do. Alright, update. I had a little time to think about it. I am just simply going to order up a pre-wired 6-pin Deutsch connector off of Scamazon. So, it's just going to make everything a lot easier. I'm going to just cut off all the fucking wiring. I don't want to have to fuck with it. I'm going to have a lot of wires to terminate. That's going to be the only problem. I'm going to have to, oh man, I'm going to have so many wires to terminate. I think I have at least like probably 12, if not more. That's going to suck. Whatever. No, like I ain't used to this bullshit by this point. But yeah, pre-wired Deutsch connectors, and I'm just gonna join them like over the transmission cross member. There are these 2 holes drilled in them, and
I have these guys right here. They're these zip ties that you can poke through holes, and then they kind of sort of hold in place. I mean, they're not terrible. They're not like great, but I'll use a couple of those, hold that cable down, and make the connector meet in the middle of those. I think that's, yeah, I think that's the plan. So for right now, I'm going to pack it up for the night. I'm going to wait for those connectors to get here. Oh, God, can't stop burping. And I'm going to fuck off and go think about something else for the next hour long till goddamn box gets here. Alright, this is what we got going on. Now let me turn off the DeWalt light. A little bit of a strobing effect with that one. Okay, this is what I got. Try to give you a good view of this. So, I ordered a what I thought was a two-piece Deutsch connector set off a Scamazon. Anyway, it's a 6-pin male and female connector, and basically all 6 of those wires that we care about are all bundled up, and I used heat shrink connectors. I tried using those oh fuck, what are they called, the solder joint heat shrink connectors, and those didn't work worth a fuck. It may be because I didn't heat them up long enough. I mean, I spent a good solid fucking minute with my butane torch over there, just cooking the ever-living fuck out of them, and the solder just didn't melt. I don't know if I have to put some flux in the center of them. Maybe that would make it work a little bit better, but whatever. I just stuck with what I know works, which is these heat shrink connectors with the adhesive in the middle of them. These work. These have never fucking failed me ever. Ideally, the perfect connection. There's no replacement for a soldered and then properly heat shrunk connection. Although like I'm laying under this truck right on my side, I do not fucking have the wherewithal to just like, yeah, I just don't. I just built this all in place so it fits right good and proper with everything else. And on this side of the connector, all we got is our 4-wheel drive, our reverse, and then I took the activation / starter relay and bundled those together. No, that is not a residential electrical tie. There are these caps that you can get where you crimp them together proper. Again, probably should have soldered them together, but I didn't fucking feel like it, so that's gonna free ball in there right like that. And all the other wires, well, they're back inside the harness with a shitload of electrical tape on them. So what I did with the wires I didn't need is I trimmed them off, took some liquid tape, put a little bit on the end, and then took a bit of heat shrink and then heat shrunk them onto the end of the wire, just so that wouldn't cause problems later on down the road. But yep, this is what I got going on. I'm going to put a little bit of dielectric grease inside the connector there, plug them both in, and we should have a fully functioning wiring harness. And don't mind the fan in the background. It's fucking 100 degrees inside this garage, and it's like 10 p.m. So, but yeah, I'm gonna test out this harness, and if everything works out, we're gonna make it on to the next thing, which is drive lined. Well, we got a rear drive shaft. We got a front drive shaft. And we got a carrier bearing bracket, completely soaked in rattle bomb paint. And we got a giant fucking mess to get cleaned up in there. But yeah, that ain't a big deal. So
Yeah, got these back from the Driveline shop just yesterday. Rocketed in fucking U-joints, and so I think the only thing left to do is to get these cocksuckers dialed up under the old F2 shitty and get this fucking thing, see if she, well, so just see if she moves, basically, is what I'm getting at. Transfer case full of tranny fluid. Check. Absolute disaster tranny fluid that looks like a fucking murder scene. Check. Front drive shaft. Check. I didn't even spill all the needle bearings out of that one U-joint. Got a couple that aren't accounted for, but yeah, they're spicers. Rear drive shaft. Fucking check. Carrier bearing check. I think we're ready to fucking dial this cocksucker out of here, boys. Alright, we are 100% complete. Oh! See if she cranks. Wait, the start light doesn't work anymore. Oil pressure. Oh yeah. See if she moves. Oh, stupid. All right, it's the big reveal, boys. Well, I think that was the brake busting loose. Let's see what this does. Oh yeah. Hang on. Forward. Oh yeah. Reverse. Oh yeah, we got movage. Woo! Woohoo! Oh fuck, this is so much fun. Alright, well, the old girl runs fucking cherry, aside from the obvious problems, but let's go ahead and I'll put you up under there right next to the straight pipe. Give you a little bit of ASMR fucking normally aspirated diesel shit. I'm gonna take this thing for a rip. Well, that concludes our regularly unscheduled programming for today. I just looked through all the video files and I've got like, I think somewhere around 80 gigs of footage in like 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours to fucking pour through. In addition, the old gay garage looks like a goddamn junkyard more than a gay garage, but that's okay, you know, we'll get it cleaned up. Anyway, yeah, that was a few months worth of struggle and probably anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000 worth of fucking spending between tools, the brick nose truck that I got, and all the other assorted bits and baubles that I happened to come across on the interwebs or through personal deals, marketplace, whole bunch of places I bought parts from. But yeah, we did fucking do it. She's sitting out there on the outside. I don't feel like opening the door to show you. I think the fucking drive-in videos should speak for themselves. She works pretty fucking good. Of course, I'm out of practice shifting through a 5-speed. Little bit out of practice, but that's all right, you know. It's like riding a bike. It all comes back, and hopefully, you know, I don't burn out the synchros relearning how to do it, but it's all coming back. I want to give a special fucking thanks to all you retards for watching all this dumb shit. This channel isn't a how-to channel necessarily. It's just a depository for all of my stupid hobbies. They're almost always hideously expensive and consume a whole shitload of time, but, you know, I just want to put shit on the internet that I think is cool, and that's pretty much all this channel is here for. Anyway, I think I've already said my thanks, so whenever the next video comes out is whenever the next fucking video comes out. I got the Gearson high power in the works, so somewhere between now and whenever that is, that'll happen. But I really don't have much of fuck all to add to that, so I'm just gonna cut it off here and keep your dick wet and your shit pipe tight and fucking see you whenever the next one is. An exercise in the futility of man. Jesus fucking Christ, man. If I wasn't of low intelligence, I wouldn't have any fucking intelligence at all. There's my fucking tape measure. God damn it.